Okay, we're live again on YouTube. OBS somehow didn't tell me that the internet died, so YouTube missed about like 5 minutes of footage, roughly 5 minutes, maybe six at this point. I wouldn't know, but I'm setting up the link. Okay. So TLDR, we contacted HQ. Vidya split up with us to like help the other students that were hypnotized, and then now Kaya, Tess, and the adjutant are in the vault, and we're splitting up again because there's like a fork in the road. Kaya was too stunned to retort. Tess offered a calm, reassuring smile, then looked up at me. Determination blazed in her eyes, a steady, confident fire that told me she thought everything was through before she spoke. It's odd that this is here. I feel like one of them is gonna die if like whoever splits up, because it's less advantageous on a 1v1. Don't give us a choice. I will be so angry. She clearly knew the risk, yet still insisted that she was the right one for the job. You've grown, Tess. But I need a promise from you as well. If you run into an enemy you can't handle, throw every trick you've got at them. Confuse them, outsmart them. Give me your word you won't risk a head-on fight and put yourself in danger. Without that promise, I can't let you go. A flicker of her hesitation crossed her face, but only for a heartbeat. He gently released my hand. Before I could reconsider, she turned and strode down the right-hand tunnel, never looking back. Her fiery red hair burned like a flame in the dark, shrinking to a spark before vanishing. Let's move too. I turned and took Kaya's hand. The way we let hers hog the spotlight, let's beat her to the finish line. Beep boop. Beep beep beep. Before the security bots patrolling in the tunnel could even lock on, Kaya's rounds tore through them, reducing the sentinels to smoking scrap. The slotch gears skittered across the floor, pinging off the walls. Well, it's probably just to stall us. Noticing my sons, Katya slowed, turned, and took my hand. Partly, yes, but more than that. My gaze dropped to the scene where its floor met wall as I mentally replayed our route in the tunnel. Katya, this tunnel, feel it? We've been spiraling downward. Yeah, but very subtly, with no reference points down here, it's nearly imperceptible. But the grade's real, I just caught it. So like it has a really slight bend? Seems so. No telling if the other branch descends the same way though. Either way, there's no time to dwell. You have to pick up the pace, scout ahead, and then regroup with Tess. Decision made. Katya burst forward, taking point without a flicker of doubt. Her agility was relentless. Most foes fell before they even registered her presence. Any target to survive her first strike she simply outmaneuvered, leaving me to finish the job. Leaving me to finish the job while they chased her shadow. We pushed on for nearly half an hour, yet the tunnel still refused to end. A flicker of irritation crossed Katya's mind. She glanced back, about to speak. Then her combat instincts shrieked. Something lethal was incoming. Years of battlefield reflexes kicked in, and instead of the usual sideways dodge, she simply raised one arm this time. A shaft of raw energy ripped through the air, its shockwave rattling the walls. Concentrated Titan is pure annihilation. This blast even unraveled Ymir's most devastating output. And yet, Katya didn't even flinch as the beam came hurling toward her. She stood firm, like a flower refusing to bend in a storm, when the energy finally sputtered out. She was still standing, unscathed. I caught every frame of it, yet in real time it lasted no longer than a heartbeat. That's a bit reused. By the time I sprinted up beside Katya, the energy streak had already evaporated. The air reeked of scorched metal, sparks skittered across walls like fireflies. Katya's blue hair on my eyes. The moment the order left my lips, she shot for it like an arrow loosed. A sapphire blur lanced down the tunnel in the space of a heartbeat. Again, stop using the word heartbeat. It felt as though she ripped a scene through the air itself, materializing behind her quarry before the echo of her departure faded. My eyes. He scoffed, squeezing the trigger mid-leap, and a hailstorm of rounds screamed forward, only to smack an invisible barrier and hang there, quivering. His human avatar phased into view ahead. I'm Tsukimbo, ice-bright eyes unblinking. With her taunt still hanging in the air, the suspended round spun around and whipped back toward Katya. But the spent slugs were weak, slow, and wide of the mark. She merely tilted her head and let them whistle past. It was more of a showy provocation than a real strike. She raised her hand, crackling arcs danced between her fingers. Damn. Deep in the cramped corridor, Katya and I had her box in front and back, yet every instinct warned me she wasn't bluffing. She's gonna take away our vision. She snapped her fingers. A violet pulse of Titan raced through the corridor. To my shock, it was coming from the paintings themselves. Katya, 9 o'clock. At my warning, Katya flickered into her fragmented state. A spear shot out of a painting, impaling the spot she just vacated. And a security bot lunged after it. With that, she dove toward the nearest canvas and vanished into it. Changed to the floor. Clanged to the floor. Katya faced back to my side. Yeah, the smell of Titan. He's using Titan to anchor a dimensional link through the paintings. Only a theory, but the signs fit. If she can bend Titan like this, she's pretty much as strong as the real Edda now. I shut my eyes, searching for the ripples coursing through the surrounding Titan field. No, something's off. When I opened them, the corridor's geometry had twisted. Katya, we've been tricked by Edda. This isn't mere spatial warp. This whole tunnel is woven from Titan, like a pocket-sized tree. There's no time to explain. I grabbed her hand and bolted. Behind us, security bots poured out of the canvases, a relentless tide of metal. I tried reshaping the space, but every segment's cross-linked. Nudge one and the whole ladders could collapse. There's only one exit. We have to catch her, or we're stuck. And Tess, she's probably facing the same trap. Is her surrounding like... No, her surrounding isn't reversed. It's just like no ground, I think. In the other branch, Tess' advance had been smoother. Aside from a few bot ambushes, she met little resistance. But the deeper she went, the clearer it became. This space was more or less shaped by Edda. Tess knew almost nothing about Titan, so all she could do was press on. Until a lone figure materialized in front of her. Split. Again, get some trust stops, and I need to clear my RAM again, I think. Chat disconnected, please connect. 5 minutes ago. I guess the internet died again. Oh, that's the shot we had earlier. Has anyone played Super Mario 64? There's like a cloud of frost. I was trying to say Super Mario 64 earlier, I almost said Super Mario Galaxy. Sorry that you guys have to see my horrible aim. Deactivating reckless retreat immediately. Now that looks like a Luigi's Mansion painting. A little anticlimactic.
勝利を約束してあげるわ。今までの。
With Chase. Makes you want to play Negotiate Undercover. That game is probably like my favorite level game, aside from like Marvel Superheroes.
ここはどこ？なんだか不気味だわ。ええ。
That reminds me of Okami when you like enter two places. In two places. Now it's like Doctor Strange in a certain room in Luigi's Mansion. We can just drop down. How did she not fall to death? I guess manifestations are just built different. Now this reminds me of Penacony in Honkai Star Rail.
消耗戦のつもりなら見当違いも甚だしいわ。今の私はかつてないほど元気いっぱいよ。
There's a person with back problems.
勝利を約束してあげるわ。今までの。
Next stage. Wasn't there a gacha game that's like something next stage? Anyway, the only solution in Katya's own way. Why does she sound so queer? Queer and happy. After what felt like ages navigating through the Tedijin Large Tunnel, Katya and I finally spotted Edge's human form in the distance. She sat perched atop a tall stool. Only when I drew close did she hop down. He clapped, slow and exaggerated, yet her eyes were cold. I wonder if the reason why she's stronger and also like removed digital Edda is because she found something in here that like helped her do that. She snapped her fingers and the ground beneath us began to shake violently. Walls and floor melted like wax under a torch, then twisted and reforged into new shapes. Reading her intent, I braced myself, anchoring the ground beneath our feet. All around us, the world churned and howled, yet the ground beneath Edda and us stayed still, like the eyes of two opposing storms on a collision course. Her voice was nearly swallowed by tremors. She had to lean in, lips almost brushing my ears just so I can catch the words. Could be anything. She's in total control here.
じゃあ私たちは
Hold on, I need to stabilize our space first. While torrents of Titan slammed into my mind, I could barely string a thought together.
ウォーミングアップはこの辺でいいかな。
A minute later, she stilled the shifting landscape.
あなたのために手ずから用意した決戦の舞台だよ。どう？分析員。
Before I stood a familiar skyline.
ここはエリアゼロ
Without us noticing, the roof beneath Katya and me materialized from the ground, and Eda lounged on a neighboring high-rise.
気に入った？久々に戻った実家のような安心感でしょ。そうだね。せっかくの実家帰りだし、昔からのお友達がいないと寂しいでしょ。
White flashes lanced through the air, followed by Titan roars. From the change to the towering Hela, Titans of every shape and size materialized one after another. My mind snapped back to the energy blast Eda fired in the tunnel, and the knot of dread tightened in my gut.
その顔、これから何が起こるかもうわかるよね。ね。
We didn't wait for an answer. She leaned back and let herself fall. On my eyes. A heartbeat later, blinding white light erupted where she vanished amid the guttural roars of countless Titans. A colossal silhouette rose, the progenitor of Titans, Ymir.
人間の意識を持ってるユミル。なんて素敵な力。もう最高。
A crazed laugh echoed from deep inside Ymir, just before its colossal arms slammed down on us. I yanked Katya close and dove to a nearby roof. The one we'd stood on was crushed flat in an instant. Even Katya was feeling the strain. She'd faced massive titans before, like Laments of Yeras, but this one was stronger still, and backed by a whole pack of lesser titans.
分析員何か考えは分析員
Only then did she sense something was wrong. I wasn't ignoring her, I simply couldn't speak.
やだ。もう鈍いったらないんだけど。彼は周りの空間を維持してるのに必死だよ。
He shot me a startled glance. I answered with a tight nod. This Titan's forged space wasn't as steady as it appeared to be. Beneath the surface, it kept collapsing inward, straight toward us. Salt Titan is wildly unstable. If I let the collapse run free, that much compressed energy would annihilate right beside us. Holding it back takes razor-edge focus, like walking a tightrope in the eye of the storm. 3 meters. I met Katya's eyes, forced the words out, then shook my head.
3メートル以内にいろって
Right, 3 meters. That's my limit right now. We were well and truly cornered. Katya, whose edge had always been blistering speed, was forced to stick out to my side. And I was too focused even to speak, let alone fight alongside her. Eda had tailored this trap for us, that's why she wasn't rushing. She was savoring our struggle like front row entertainment.
さて、考えはまとまったかな？学生者さん。
Snow began to fall, thick, white motes of Titan. Ymir's giant palm thundered toward us again. Katya clenched her jaw in barely contained Katya clenched her jaw in barely contained rage. Clenched her jaw? Clenched her fist? It kept her grip on my hand, dodging in perfect sync. The moment we touched down, she opened fire at Ymir. Powered by her exosuit and Dewas, every round hissed through the air, crackling with fury. Titans that tried to close in were shredded at once, and even Ymir staggered beneath the hail of bullets. After that barrage, Katya also came to realize the problem. Distance. We were still too far from Ymir for her shots to bite. We had to get closer. The rooftops tall enough to serve as springboards for few, and the gaps between them were far too wide for a single leap. As Katya hesitated, I rested a hand on her shoulder. Jump. She gave me one quick glance, then nodded. In perfect sync, we sprinted and launched off the roof's edge.
もう観念したの？死ぬ？
Hardly. At the apex of our arc, a 3-meter wide platform winked into existence beneath us. Our momentum never faltered. With every leap, a new platform formed underfoot, vanishing the instant we sprang to the next. Shaping those paths from Lieutenant and myself, my reach extended only 3 meters. Within that radius, I was nearly omnipotent. Energy blasts streaked toward us from every direction like bolts of lightning. Yet we were even faster. After all this time, Kaja and I didn't need words, especially on the battlefield. Instinct always carried us along the same path. Her voice was starting to fray. In under a minute, we landed on the rooftop directly before Ymir, staring it down at eye level. At this range, its sheer bulk was a liability, even turning cost precious seconds. Just long enough for Katya to empty an entire clip. Excuse me, it's called a mag. Reeling, she snapped back and had Ymir unleash another beam, pulverizing the rooftop beneath us. She didn't stop there. One by one, the surrounding high-rises were flattened under her barrage. Wouldn't it be funny if they made 2 weak spots instead of 1, so that they wouldn't be fully compromised? You know, unlike in certain games, effective ranges of a firearm usually has a few 100 meters at minimum. Ymir's colossal hand slammered over his chest, shooting at the core from every round. Kaja knew that taunt was bait, yet her fists tightened on instinct. She never cared about proving herself to anyone, but where Adjutant was concerned, the thought of falling even half a step behind was unbearable. Her resolve stayed firm, but each second wound her nerves tighter. Katya. My voice jolted her out of that downward spiral. Only you. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't force out more than those 2 words. Instead, I raised one finger. Titans continued pouring in from every direction, but Kaja answered with wordless bullets, fighting them with ruthless precision. And then she vanished. Anna blinked, then threw back her head in laughter. No, she just went into like light speed or some shit. Without Katya's cover fire, every Titan zeroed in on me. Dodging was no longer an option. The first blast crashed against the Titan shield that conjured, and glanced off without a crack. The second followed, then third. A blistering barrage fused into one blow, driving me backward across the rubble. Cracks spider webbed through the barrier. I had no choice but to clench my jaw and hold. A beam punched through, searing my left shoulder. But that's smarts. Yeah, it says hurts in Japanese. My eyes. Beams rained down on me like a meteor shower. In 3 seconds, those spears of light would rip me apart. In 5, I'd be dead. Yet my eyes never left the core glowing in Ymir's chest. I waited for the heartbeat when a flash of blue would slip between the beams and blot them out. My eyes. Katya flashed into position out of thin air. A move that must have looked like suicide to the human form. Outside my sphere, Katya would be shredded by Titan turbulence before she could even pull the trigger. But she never truly left my range. Take the shot, Katya! I hurled every ounce of power outward in one pulse. My consciousness flooded the arena. and the world froze. Titan's beams, Titan, even your mirror itself. All except Katya. Holding every mode of Titan for even a heartbeat would be nearly impossible. I had to give everything I had and more. But that heartbeat was all we needed. The instant the bullet left the barrel, I heard Katya's voice in my mind. Distance meant nothing in the moment. Our souls were throbbing in perfect synchrony. I bet everything on that resonance. I don't think for a minigun there would be a fire mode. Like, it's meant to be automatic. It's not supposed to fire one shot unless there's only one shot in the mag. I trusted her skill, and more importantly, I knew Katya would understand the plan in my mind, down to the last detail. Reality paused, and we found ourselves inside Katya's mindscape. It was utterly still, a wave-scoured reef facing an endless sea. The only sound is the crash of the wave. How do you feel, Katya? I turned to her. Breeze caught a lock of hair in her ear, tracing the sharp, elegant lines of her profile. Same here. She smiled and met my eyes.
この前の約束通り、思う存分戦わせてもらったわ。自分の力を証明した上で、分析員の信頼にも応えた。
Lifted her hand and gently hooked her finger around mine. My eyes.
昔はただ振り子みたいに、目標を見つけては達成するだけの人生を送っていた。同じ場所に長くとどまれないし、何かに打ち込むこともできなかった。分析員に出会うまでは。
My eyes.
分析員は何か不思議な力を持ってるのかもね。そばにいるだけで楽しみが勝手に増えていくもの。気づいたらいつの間にか一匹狼の傭兵クラインから分析員を頼りがちなカーシアになったわ。ほんと、良くも悪くもだわ。
It is.
分析員にとってはそうでしょうけど。
She chuckled and bumped my shoulder with hers. It's good for both of us, Katya. Just as you lean on me, I lean on you. And having someone you can trust on and rely on, that's your bliss. He offered no further reply, but the ripples in the air betrayed her. Her mindscape echoed every feeling in her heart. I've been thinking, what kind of covenant ceremony would suit a woman like you?
私みたいな？私って分析員の目にはどう映ってるの？
Brilliant, razor-sharp, magnetic, always full of surprises. You look like the toughest person in any room, yet underneath, you're unbelievably gentle.
本当にそう思うの？だったら好都合じゃない。適当にあしらえば？
You'd think so. A simple confession feels too plain for you, but something grand and showy would ring hollow. Nothing I imagined ever felt right. Until I realized. Like you said, being with you makes even the smallest moments feel special. The Covenant is just the beginning, one small chapter in the long life we'll share.
そうね。なら、儀式なんてこだわるよりも、今を大切にしましょう。
He tilted her head and rested on my shoulder.
ここっていいわね。邪魔が入らないし、好きなだけ二人でいられる。まるで、私たちのための世界みたい。
Which would be a bad thing. Then we really ought to secure humanity's future-wide, well, population maintenance.
あなたって人は、せっかくかっこよかったのに。さて、私のフィアンセ君。せっかく私の意識の中なんだから、これから私の言うことを当ててごらん。
She stood one step forward, pivoted to face me, clasped her hands behind her back, then tilted her head with a playful wink. Truth is, I know her words from the moment we arrived. Life and beyond, never apart. The realm shivered as if our hearts skipped a beat, then thundered back to life.
これからもずっと一緒にいましょう。
I'm resumed. The instant the bullet punched through Ymir's chest, the crushing tide of Titan bearing down on me vanished. The human form couldn't muster even a whimper before the relentless barrage snuffed her out. With Ymir's fall, every remaining Titan and the attacks still in flight crumbled into nothing. As the Titan's colossal frame disintegrated, 2 bodies dropped from the sky. Freed of every restraint, I searched for one and caught them both. One task remained. Put on Eda's human form, studying her pale face. She'd recklessly changed her mind to Ymir's, so when Katya struck the final blow, consciousness unraveled with the Titan. Yet, I could sense a faint spark, someone else lingered inside the shell. I'll be right back. I nodded to Katya and reached toward the human form's body. Without its master, the consciousness space trembled on the verge of collapse. But its continued existence was proof enough for my suspicion. There's another sentient being within. So it's digital Eda. She wasn't completely erased. I steadied my thoughts and plunged deeper into the mindscape, probing through static until a single pinprick of light emerged. The instant my fingertip brushed it, a silhouette slowly unfurled from the glow. Whisper spelled to a murmur. I finally caught her voice. Okiro, Eda. Inside the human form's consciousness realm. Don't you remember? Eda's digital form stared, dazed, then jolted upright. He patted her face and arms, an odd sight for someone made of code. Realizing she was whole, she looked back at me and burst into tears. The host? Interesting. Technically, you did die. Your mind was shattered, lingering only here. Had the human form's consciousness not collapsed, I couldn't have awakened you. Yeah, the body's yours now. As promised, you can live as a real human. Tears still clung to her cheeks, yet her eyes shone with uncontained joy. So, Eda might be a playable character in the future. You'll need to stay with Yggdrasil for a while, at least until you learn the basics of human etiquette and manners. A purpose. Looked at me with wide, expectant eyes. Did I assign a purpose to this new Eda? I'm eyes. Eda, Genghis, Yogurt. Every advanced AI I admit drew its power from a built-in purpose, the very reason it was born. But the Eda standing before me no longer needed to carry that burden. I met her gaze and shook my head. I'm not going to assign you a purpose. Humans only start searching for their purpose after they begin living. You should do the same. Live. You don't need a directive. Life itself is purpose enough. The old Eda had you shadow me, logging my every move. Now I want you to observe the world, learn it, and become part of it. One day you'll discover something worth fighting for, and that, not something assigned, will be your purpose. That's how humans find meaning. We studied her open palm in silence. Zenda, you're the first sentient being to ever break free of Edda's control. Your existence alone proves individuality and free will. From here on, the path you walk is yours to forge. Some days will flow smoothly, others may leave you lost or discouraged. Whatever comes, this life is yours, and yours alone. Go live it, and make me proud. I stepped closer, opened my arms, and gently drew her into a hug. Once willful, self-centered brat stood frozen. Raw, nameless emotion surged up, too strong to hold back. It might take some time to process all this, but it's okay. I'll be here for you. I felt her arms slowly wrap around my back, hugging me tight. We went silent for a long moment, then asking tentatively. That's exactly what it means. It's a lovely name, it suits you. Since it was her decision, I had no reason to object. I let her go and gave her hair a gentle pat. Time to leave this place. You'll need to master those new powers fast, and help me find a way forward. Gambare senpai. Fingers intertwined, we stepped out of the mindscape together. The moment we stepped back to reality, Sapphire let out a horrified yelp. Just went to find Katya's Gatling gun trained right between Sapphire's eyes. The poor thing looked about to faint. Katya, stand down. The human form's original consciousness is gone. Looks like teaching this one proper manners might take a while. Brains aside, Sapphire, can you get us out of this pocket dimension? He threw up a hand, drew a deep breath. But nothing happened. No matter how hard she tried, Trajan around stayed inert. Gaia and I watched as panic crept into her face. She clapped her hands once and seized my arm. Easy, take a breath. Now, what is it? Someone else. I gripped her shoulders. You mean there's another Edda's human form in here? She nodded hard. And he stirred in my chest again. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. Will you pinpoint the source? Sapphire shut her eyes, raised both hands, and the space of self ripped apart. Two ragged holes gaped wide enough for us to step through. Panting, Sapphire pointed toward the two rifts. Well, of course we're going deeper. Another fork path, but this time the choice was crystal clear. I turned to Katya. Katya, Press a finger to my lips.
説明しなくていいわ。考えてること、わかるわ。先を越されないために、先にこの子を書庫へ連れて行くから。
Her hand slipped from my lips, resting over my heart.
状況が状況だから焼かないわよ。分析員が決めたことなら、何でも納得するわ。だから、迎えに行ってあげて。私の時みたいに、彼女のことも受け止めて。
I cut my face and pressed her forehead to mine.
あなたはきっと私の元に戻ってくる。そうでしょ。だから、あんまり待たせないで。
Possessive and assertive as ever, classic Katya. Yet, behind her eyes flickered something soft and warm. I'll come back to you. Promise. I said the same to her new Hensiro, and I kept that promise. I'd keep this one too. Man. After a long lingering kiss, I turned and stepped, without a second's hesitation, into the rift Sapphire had opened.
何見てるの？
いや、ただ今あなたの言ったことに驚いてるだけ。
これがカーシア・クラインのスタイルよ。彼のそばにいたいなら、あなたも自分のそれを見つけた方がいいわ。
言われなくても分かってるよ。
That first bluster earned nothing but a thin smile from Katya before she turned away. Disadvantage. We're not gonna use we're not gonna use Kiss. We're gonna use we're definitely gonna use Katya.
よく聞きなさい。弾丸の競争を。この指の器用さ。
ここは逆さまのエリアゼロ。まるで鏡の中にいるみたい。
I can't see.
感心してる場合じゃないよね。今は一刻も早くここから抜けないと。
Up. Oh. Wait, it is upside down. I thought those are up there. I thought those are like signs, but no, those are like traffic lights. Superhero landing. Anyone watch Doctor Strange?
この敵、強くなってるね。この敵にとって私なのかな。待って、あれはキスして。
戦いが終わったら。臨時収入ね。ねえ、夜になったら一杯付き合って。あ、いい。
God, how do we... I'll just follow this line. I don't know if we will like land on... Okay, wait, there's ground here. Reach the airship. Nah, you can't get us. Can we shoot you here, bottom? You can. There we go.
重心がまだ冷めてるっていうのね。
I'm gonna drop again, I assume. An airship?
キスして戦いが終わったら
This was an airship in a Warframe, I'd believe you, but no, this isn't Warframe.
あり重厚の先に突っ立ってるのが早いの。それが全力なの。臨時収入ね。ねえ最頂点から勝利をつかみ取る。あっけないわね。
YouTube's okay. YouTube's still working. So I switch. Go to Apple trick. Promises matter. So it's about. Well, we don't go to Apple has to be related to tests.
選ぶ道間違えたね。
First shot, a jagged shot of walls that doesn't dozens of meters away. I figure identical to Edda's human form, regarded tests in utter silence, her gaze cool and unreadable. In this upside-down world, she was the first person Tess had seen standing the right way up.
あなたはさっきまでの人間体と違う個体だよね。
Even at a glance, Tess felt it. This one had a completely different aura.
そっちの分析員が本体と反目になった時、本体は私を作り出した。
Interesting.
あの欠陥品と違って、私は本体の力を全て受け継いだ完璧な人間体。
Uh-oh, stinky.
全て？
Tess gave a scoffing laugh.
人間の感情だけは持ってないみたいだけど、真の人間になるのには感情は不要なものだと本体の計算で分かったんだ。ほら、人間の成人なんて感情、もっと言えば人間性を捨ててこそ成人になったんじゃない。何を言うかと思えばあなたと哲学の話をする気はないよ。とにかくあなたもさっきの人間体同様書庫が目当てなんでしょ。
The figure nodded, then gave a slow shake of the head.
書庫だけじゃないよ。私以外にそこへ入ろうとするやつも全員狙ってるよ。じゃあこれでも食らえ。
Two stub-sized grenades shrieked from Tessa's palms toward the figure's perch. What the fuck is this writing? 5 meters out, each shell ruptured, spraying a cloud of microcharges. They're tuned to sting, not kill. Tess was testing the waters. Will this Edda block or just strike back? She tracked every twitch, yet the figure didn't even blink. With a whisper, massive feathered wings flared into being, folding over her like a living rampart. The mini charges struck like drizzle on the sea. No ripple, no sound. Tess frowned. Not at the failed attack, but at the pattern of defense itself. It felt too familiar, almost like. The word snapped Tess's focus back as Edda lifted a hand, then brought it down like a judge's gavel. 9 bolts of lightning flared from her fingertips, lancing toward Tess. Tess arched backward into a tight backflip, landing 5 meters away a split second before impact. The spot she vacated now was the smoking crater half her height deep. Tess had no more doubt. This Edda was channeling manifestation power, and might even command all of it. We don't. Even as she muttered, Tess started through the skyline, slipping past the next volley.
正面からじゃ勝てるはずもないね。分析員の言った通り、こいつから生き残るためには頭をフル回転しないといけないみたい。環境、地形、時間、何か利用できるものはないかな。
The mind raced, but Eda gave her no room to breathe.
ヘルメスの神速
A surge of cobalt light detonated around her. In the next instant, her speed multiplied several-fold. The tens of meters between them vanished in a blink, and she still wasn't finished.
ジュールのエイリ
A great sword nearly her height flashed into her hands. She swung it as if it weighed nothing. The blade shaved right past Tess. One moment slower, and she'd have been cleaved into two. Eda didn't hesitate. She dragged the sword behind her, then whipped it forward like a javelin. The blade spun, screaming through the ruins at an uncanny speed. Tess pivoted off a dangling street sign, slipping beyond its lethal arc. The great sword refused to stop. It banked mid-air, wheeling around for a second run. A homing sword! Tess let out a rueful sigh, so much for winning on footwork alone. With this realization, she vaulted skyward. Climbing higher and faster than the pursuing sword, she was directly above the spinning steel in a heartbeat. She then kicked off into the air, diving herself down like a hammer. The sudden vertical force dragged the sword with her. It stamped into the pavement and burst into sparks, fading out of existence. Such explosive strength, such pinpoint control, how does she manage it? Ed already knew, because the moment Tess lunged, the apple hovering at her side slowly dimmed. Vitality boost, that's one of the apple's hidden subroutines. It floods Tess's system with concentrated life energy, letting her push past human limits, just long enough to execute maneuvers no ordinary body could manage.
つまんない
Ed immediately saw the gadget's fatal flaw. The apple gave Tess just enough juice to dodge and stay safe, but its charge would run out eventually. All she had to do was turn up the pressure and wait her out.
プロメテウスの献身チェルノボグの死滅つくよみの好機
Bro, she's like using all the alts. Fire, crushing force fields, silvery lunar energy. 3 separate twins whirred from her outstretched palms, each one spearing straight for Tess. As predicted, every blast missed by a hair. Tess slipped between them like a nimble cat, her footwork so fluid and graceful it almost looked like she was toying with her enemy. But the apple at her side betrayed the truth. Its glow cycled from burnished gold to warning red, then to a wan teal, creating with every miraculous dodge. After countless failed volleys, Eda's eyes went wide. Sods? Oxamin-like arena walls, and the open ground between offered no cover at all. Perfect execution site, Ed thought, lifting her hand for the coup de grace.
アナビスの
Never finished the incantation. Tess swept tens of meters away, suddenly appeared behind her like a silent shadow. Tess had waited so long for this very moment. Every panicked sidestep had been a setup to lure her enemy here. With sight of hand gadgets, she scattered false footprints, breadcrumbs of illusion that nudged Eda exactly where she wanted her. Inch by inch, the trap closed, and when the arena was set, Tess burned the apple's final spark, vaulted off a rooftop and speared downward, landing at her enemy's back. In that moment, Eda's full focus was locked on a decoy dummy mid-incantation. As a manifestation herself, Tess knew the fatal window where they all share, the split second spent unleashing an attack when defense is impossible. A steel-edged playing card snapped from Tess's poker gun and carved clean through the heart of Eda's human form. He hacked, a wet rasp, dark blood spilled across her palms. Dark blood, interesting.
いつの間
I
に
guess Eda is like an artificial human, so. Tess didn't bother answering. No sense talking before the job was done. She snapped off a second shot, this time at the throat. But the card never landed. Eda's finger clamped around it mid-flight and crumpled the steel like foil. How could anyone that badly wounded still move like that? Tess watched, stunned, as a ragged hole in Eda's chest knit itself shut, skin smoothing over in a single heartbeat.
イデンの治癒
Tess's pupils tightened to pinpricks. Eden, Tess's own Deus, the goddess of youth and renewal.
これを使う時が来るなんて強いね人間でもいよいよ万事休すなんじゃないままごとは終わりだよ
No trick, no tactic, no amount of misdirection could save her now. Just allowed herself a small, almost wistful smile and stood the poker gun back into its holster.
ままごとそうだね
Ella lifted one hand, but Tessa's gaze didn't waver.
バルドルの同国
It was a stroke powerful enough to fell even an invulnerable god. Oh, I knew it. I knew something would happen to Tess when they all said that kind of stuff. Against said power, a human body was no sturdier than a dry leaf. In a single heartbeat, the devastating radiance spread through Tess, her silhouette shattered, tumbling into the abyss below. Unless this is like a decoy as well. She'd already done enough. As she plummeted, a curious calm settled over her.
分析員との約束は果たしたよ
He had truly burned every drop of strength. Anything less, and she could never have wounded Eda's human form. And despite all that, Tess was actually unscathed. The test that was torn apart by Eda was a masterwork of illusion, conjured through sleight of hand and misdirection. After all, for a master magician, the greatest trick has always been escapology.
私がしたいこともやり
So she's fine. From the outset, Tess never meant to win, only to stall the enemy. If you run into an enemy you can handle, throw every trick you've got at them. Confuse them, outsmart them. The minutes she bought were more than enough for the Adjutant and Katya to reach the archives. That alone made this the best ending she could hope for. She felt her consciousness peeling away, thought by thought. Tilting her head, she stared into the abyss below. No matter how hard she squinted, the void had no bottom. Not so bad, she mused. An endless fall meant endless time to think about the man she loved, however long she might last. And with that thought, every memory of him flooded in, warm and vivid. I thought she's good. What? Huh? After their first dinner together, Tess floated home and still giggling. That night she lay in bed, thumbing question after question into her terminal. What does it mean when a man calls a girl a golden apple? Is it easy for a new teacher to remember every student's name? Best restaurants for treating someone as thank you. A girl can hide her feelings, but dark circles after a sleepless night always give her away. Tess, are your glasses piling up on you? During their second meal, he noticed something was off.
全然最近はちょっとそのマジックを練習してただけなの
You're into magic.
私の一番の趣味だよまだまだ素人だしショーどころか練習でもよくミスっちゃうんだ
And how about we practice together?
一緒に一緒に練習するの
You almost blurted out yes on reflex before reason kicked in.
先生忙しいんだよねそれに趣味でマジックをやってるだけだから先生に付き合ってもらうわけには
Truth is, I enjoy a good set of hand myself. If we're up for it, we can run drills after class, save you a few late nights. How does that sound, Tess?
もちろんいいよ
Looking back, Tess finally understood why he'd offered those after-class sessions. His assignment at the time was to investigate the school, and late-night magic practice gave him the perfect excuse to linger on campus.
理由はどうであれ分析員は私にとって憧れの先生だったの
I'm eyes.
ねえ先生なんで私のパフォーマンスそんなにバレやすいの
After one of their drills, Tess frowned down at two small balls cupped in her hands. Your technique is solid, but you're too honest up there.
それっていいことなんじゃないの
Tess, you're downright adorable.
かわいいとか
Honesty is a virtue, yes, but a magician has to misdirect. When you want the audience to watch your left hand, the real move happens in the right. See? Eyes, gestures, subtle shifts.
へ
Just like that. You picked things up fast, Tess. She beamed up the praise, though she knew it wasn't pure talent. She'd never been top of the class in normal coursework, yet anything the adjutant taught her stuck after a single run-through. I'd say you have a knack for magic. Trust yourself. Let that shine.
彼に励まされながら、私は徐々に大勢の前でパフォーマンスできるようになった。そしてある日、練習の時のこと。
My eyes.
まずい。先生との練習に熱中しすぎて、日記帳を行動に置いてきちゃった。
Let's tore through the moonlit streets, shoes slapping pavement, racing back to campus. Anything else could wait till morning, but that journal, every page was crammed with. Pressing a foot against the wall behind him, the adjutant shoved off in a sudden burst, slamming his shoulder into the closest attacker and knocking them sprawling. He never slowed, spinning on his heel. He drove an elbow deep into the ribs of a second assailant who rushed in from behind. The third, thinking they'd found an opening, tried with full roar. The adjutant dropped into a low crouch and swept their legs, sending the last attacker crashing to the floor. The fight wrapped up in 5 seconds. He shook his head at the 3 unconscious agents sprawled on the floor, then raised his terminal. This is him. Your loose ends came right after me. Relax, I just knocked them out. Just send someone to pick them up. A straight military hands-off is fine. Tessa's heart hammered, but she couldn't tear her eyes away. Keep your back to a wall, cut down the angles they can hit you from. Massacre intent, strike when they least expect it. When an opponent's balance breaks, finish with a sweep. He etched every move into memory. On her way home, the fight replayed in Tessa's head on an endless loop. One thing was clear, the adjutant was no ordinary teacher. A typical schoolgirl might have run to faculty or confronted the adjutant the next day. Tess did neither, she simply locked the memory away. And she wished to know more about him. A secret shared by just 2 people, a young magician in training, and a mysterious teacher. And just like that, the semester slipped to an end.
先生、この間練習に付き合ってくれてありがとう。なんだかマジックが上達した気がするよ。今日はめちゃくちゃ美味しいクレープを食べに行こうよ。もちろん、私のおごりで。
Crepe? Aw, man.
卒業式の時に私の助手が先生だって分かったら、みんなきっとびっくりするだろうな。
Tess, actually, I might be getting transferred again soon. I'm sorry.
そんな、先生は何も問題なんか起こしてないでしょ？どうして？
Deep down, she already knew the answer. It's a routine transfer. They need me elsewhere. It felt as if the sun that broke through great clouds had vanished all at once. Before she could stop herself, she blurted out a request.
じゃあ、卒業式じゃなくて、2週間後の新年イベントに出ることにする。
2 weeks? It's going to be tough to get everything ready in such a short time.
私頑張るもん。だから信じて。お願い。
Okay, I promise I'll be there. And promises matter, Tess. They carry the weight of 2 hearts. So promise me, no more staying up past midnight to rehearse. Don't push yourself too hard. Heartfelt smiles blossomed on both their faces. Arigato ne, Tess.
どうしたの？
For these past few months, I've enjoyed every moment of you. I'm grateful I got to teach a genius.
天才って、私のこと？
I am. You're a natural at magic, and not just parlor tricks. Real magic takes careful prep, lighting improv, and the knack for guiding an audience wherever you want them to look. Those skills might not shine in a classroom or in everyday life, but when the moment demands it, they become truly formidable. He hesitated, a shadow of caution in his eyes. Ability. Tess knew what she'd stopped himself from saying. Weapon. Even now, she remembered exactly how she felt in that moment. A voice inside her head screamed, urging her to tell him everything. I know who you really are. I understand what you meant by when the woman demands, let me be part of your world. But another quieter voice insisted. He'd never want that. The girl he trusted was Tess, a cheerful student who loved stage magic, not a stalker drowning in secrets. She had a show to perfect and a promise to keep. And after the curtain fell, that would be the perfect time to tell him how she felt. But the ending was already inked in. Tess, worn thin by sleepless rehearsals, collapsed halfway through the show, breaking her own promise. A single mistake that took 3 years to atone.
2057年、奪還計画を実行すべく、部下を率いて宿り木宇宙ステーションへ向かった後、音信不通になる。ケンさんは
So it seems that we met Tess before we went on to the Mistleton station where we, started off the game. So Tess could be one of the first girls we met. Sitting in T's office, a chill needle... What? A chill needle cleared through her bones. Tears blurred the report before she could finish the line.
表向きでは音信不通扱いになっていますが、私たちの今の技術力では彼を連れ戻すことはほぼ不可能です。
もう彼に会えないの？
You dropped out of school, enlisted with Yggdrasil, clawed her way here, only to meet this grim reality. The old Tess might have crumpled on the spot. But every drill, every hardship she'd endured for the chance to see him again had forged her body and sealed her spirit. Even now, even in agony, she stood tall, not a single sob slipped free.
ユグドラシルは社員一人一人の意向を尊重します。もう続ける気がなくなったのなら、今すぐ辞めていただいて結構です。
Walk away, but to where? Tess stood silent for a long time, head bowed. At last her voice emerged.
ううん残るよ。彼みたいな人はもうどこにもいないから。
Wondered if she'd only been braver back then. Everything had unfolded differently. Now suspended among the city's ruins, Tess had no strength left for what ifs. Only silence remained. A hush so deep it smothered every other feeling, except one, and she had never been more certain of anything.
先生のことが本当に好きなの。
Missed him with every breath, longed just to hear his voice again. Tess. He thought she heard that voice. Tess. The voice grew clearer, steady, warm, taking Tess back to the depths of her memories. Sorry I kept you waiting. In my eyes, Tess saw her own reflection. Shock written plain across her face. I reached out and gently wiped away the tears at the corners of her eyes. It's okay, you're safe now. My arms wrapped around her, quieting the tremble in her frame. ここだよ、テス。
もっと近づいてくれる？
I leaned in. From this distance, I could see every flutter of her lashes. I'm listening. You can tell me anything.
わかった。
So nestled in my arms, she tilted her head up and pressed a soft, cherry-sweet kiss to my lips. Though she'd made the first move, her eyes were shut tight like a shy little fawn's. I leaned in, guiding her gently past those pearly teeth until our tongues brushed, hesitant at first, then slowly melting into each other. Exhausted from the earlier fight, her breathing turned ragged. I ran a soothing hand through her hair and let her go. Her cheeks bloomed with pink, nerves, bashfulness, joy, all wrapped in one. She looked up and met my gaze with the tender smile I'd always cherished.
分析好き。このキスは制約の時まで取っとくつもりだったの。
Covenant basically means contract, for those that are like don't know what the word means. So I assume Covenant ceremony is their world's equivalent of like a wedding.
でももう待てない。3年は本当に長すぎたんだ。エロ社の雪の結晶を一つ一つ覚えるくらいだったの。だから
Her voice hitched. Each word sounded torn straight from her soul.
もうあなたなしの日々は嫌なの。
Tears spilled down her cheeks again. She was always the cheerful one, yet somehow I kept making her cry. We'll never be apart, Tess. Not now, not ever. I'll always be there for you. You can always lean on me. I placed my fingers to hers and spoke the promise I'll spend a lifetime keeping. I've always known you're not as innocent as you look. Those sly little schemes, the jealous glances when I talk to other girls, honestly, a bit intimidating at times. But I adore every side of you, the girl who laughs for me, cries for me, and sees straight through me. My sharp, mischievous, utterly lovable golden apple. I love you, all of you. Her breathing steadied, the light in her eyes flared brighter than ever.
分析員、私の髪を結んでくれる？
My fingers slipped through her silky crimson strands. Guided by memory, I smoothed and knotted them the way she liked.
知ってるんだ。分析員はずっと私のことを愛してくれてるって。
I mean, we say that to like every other girl, every chapter. Well, like, aside from Nerida's. Well, I guess in Nerida's we said that to Nita.
分析員が支えてくれるなら、今のテスは誰にも負けない。
My girl. With that resolve, let's go put our arrogant enemy in the ground.
もう一つだけお願いがあるの。
どうした？
ここを出るまでこのまま私をキュッてしてくれる？
You didn't say the word. Her voice tapered off to a whisper, softer than a heartbeat. Man, that's wholesome. Wait, we're not ending. Oh. Man, that was wholesome. If you're wondering what tags I like vanilla. So that really like pulled my heartstrings. Except for harem.
そこまであとどれくらいか。
私の読み込んだマップだとここを通ればすぐ着くんだよ。
この指の器用さ、あなたが一番わかってるでしょ。重心がまだ冷めてるっていうのに。臨時収入ね。夜になったら。
Wonder how like everyone else will react when we get back, like when they see human Edda, because they don't know. Maybe they'll get debriefed before we get there, but like imagine if they didn't get debriefed.
臨時収入ね。キスして戦いが終わっていまいちな味ね。弾丸の嵐。
Is that a boss? If it's a boss, then I'll just ult.
まとめて潰してやる。
Yeah, that seems like a boss given how much damage it's tanking up.
で倒していくんだもん。ハッキングが成功する前に敵がぶっ壊れちゃってるよ。
だったら早く言いなさいよ。最頂点から勝利を。
It's kind of funny.
あっけないわね。
If it's just like on the story alone, I like Tess more than Nita. Like then again, I do like Tess more than Nita, but Nita's just too strong.
それにしても分析員はどうやって駆けつけてくれたの？
Yeah, it's just after we stepped out of that warped pocket and back onto solid ground. Head stretched the real corridor leading to the archives. The fort we saw earlier didn't really exist. It was an illusion built by Eda's human form and used intelligence to split us up. With Sapphire's help, I mean Eda's digital form, that's her new name, we forced the path to straight to you.
じゃあカーシアさんとサフィールは
Once Sapphire reclaimed control of the body, she remembered there was another avatar. She and Katya rushed ahead to intercept her at the archives. As he ran, Tess filled me in. Eda's perfect human form can channel manifestation powers, and by our account, it's far more powerful than the version Katya and I fought earlier. Doesn't matter. The archives are just a bit. That's an SMG. Gunfire cut me off, and I thought I heard Sapphire shout. Tess and I exchanged a tense glance, then sprinted toward the sounds. At the archive's main gate, the battle was already in full swing. Kaya and Sapphire reached the gate just in time to catch Eda's perfect human form working with the seal, and the fight kicked off on the spot.
オーディンの決断。
9 bolts of lightning tore through the air, streaking toward Katya and Sapphire like bloodthirsty hounds.
元チャンピオンの技まで。
Kaya darted aside, drew her Gatling gun, and unleashed the volley, but every round froze midair, absorbed by some unseen force before they could land.
ねえ、あいつみたいに強い技が使えたりしないの？
ねえじゃなくてサフィール。
Her mouth ran as usual, but her heart was racing. Every blast of titan she threw out got snuffed by the enemy like a spark in a storm.
相手は覚醒者の力にタイタン物質を操る力ばかりか、ハッキングもできる規格外だよ。私が叶うはずないじゃない。あ、そうか。一つしか能力がないのはこの体を奪ったからだっけ。
Hawk gave her a strange sense of peace.
シャキッとしなさい。
A lightning ball cracked down, using Sapphire by a handspan. Kaya lunged and yanked Sapphire clear by the collar.
面白いじゃない。そのテレポートの力、神格から与えられたものじゃないみたいね。
Kaya offered no reply. Eda just gave a small shake of her head, as if disappointed.
なら、これはどう？モリガンの国営。
At her whisper, 2 mirror images peeled away from her form, perfect phantoms, down to the last feather.
分身した。
Sapphire's eyes widened, but no matter how hard she stared, she couldn't tell the copies from the original. All 3 raised their hands at once, and lightning screamed down. Sapphire clumsily dove for the ground, rolling away in a panic.
やめてよその顔。実力は向こうが圧倒的なんだから仕方ないでしょ。
だったらもっと離れてなさい。あなたに何かあったら彼に合わせる顔がないわ。
Kaya sprang upward, arcing through the air in a clean, lethal line. Gunfire rained from above, tearing 2 of the phantoms to shreds midair. Under the storm of bullets, Eda gave up the chase and turned her full attention to Katya.
生きてる。
Sapphire slumped to the ground, wanted but intact. Katya was tangled in a fierce clash with Eda, every second a razor's edge. Watching them, Sapphire racked her brain for ways to help. Then, with deep inhale and no better plan,
分析！助けて！
that's far enough. My shots skimmed past Eda's perfect form's cheeks. She turned toward me, her face careless as ever.
あなたが分析員？
How does she not know? Only then did she notice Tess trailing close behind me.
覚醒者まだ生きてたんだ。1、2、3、4。4人の相手をするの？
It might have been my imagination, but it almost sounded like she sighed.
本体は1人倒せばいいって言ったのに。
With his one objective, but not one hostile. The Crimson Phantom finally revealed itself. It had been watching, waiting.
制限をすべて解除してあげる。もっともっと力を上げるから、絶対に全員を倒してきて。わかった。
Perfect human form raised her hand slowly. You're mistaken about one thing, Edda.
Eh?
You think there are only 4 of us? That's where you're wrong. You're up against far more than that, Edda.
59分55秒。59分56秒。
Beneath the remnants of the tree in Philosia, Fridia stared anxiously at the timer ticking on her terminal.
57、58、59。
The moment it hit 60, she stamped the buttons she'd been clutching white knuckles for the past hour. The makeshift device in front of her hummed to life. One line snaked into the tree's remains. The other led to a compact memory unit nestled inside. The confinement serum. Contained within that memory unit was a one-of-a-kind kill command. A theoretical failsafe capable of crashing any AI system. Even Fridia couldn't say for sure if it'd work on Edda.
お願い。今日から1年間ミルクティーとエナドリを飲まないようにするから、分析員の計画を成功させて。
Normally a devout believer in science, Fridia claps her hands in a sincere if desperate prayer. Whistleton Station. At the station's heart lay the main control room, the place Edda called home. Ever since she forged a human vessel using a warrior fragment, she had occasionally wandered the inner and outer rings. But more often, she stood at the main control room's viewport, gazing through reinforced glass at the distant blue planet. Even though streams of sensory data from her remote avatar updated her on every movement down on the surface, she still preferred watching with her own eyes. You're up against far more than that, Edda. Both the Edda aboard the station and her avatar on ground were momentarily stunned by the words. Then it hit her. That's pretty, but we've never seen it. A torrent of corrupted codes surged out from the tree, routing the uplink and crashing straight into Whistleton Station's core system, straight into her. Errors bloomed like a virus across her HUD, warning windows overlapping, multiplying, blotting out her vision completely. Even a basic system check stalled at 0%. Since the first descent, the AI known as Edda had never shut down, until now. Her ground-based avatar had no idea what just happened. The familiar hologram of her host vanished without warning. No surge of horror came, instead, her strength was draining away fast. Panic drove her toward the archive's gate, but Katya was already standing in her path.
残念だけど、もうここまでよ。
おままごとは終わりだ。だったっけ？あれ？もう呪文を唱えなくていいの？
So the Sapphire flanked Katya, sealing off every escape route.
そんな。どうやって？
The sudden reversal hit her too fast, too hard to process. Finish her. After what she did to Tess, there's no way I'd let her walk away. No, there has to be another way. The perfect human form never gives up, not even when the plan collapses. With the enemy closing in, she ransacked her memory for a lifeline, and found a thread of hope.
本体がくれた学院の情報に、アクロポリス学院書庫のセキュリティシステムについてのことが入ってた。
Seizing on the thought, she bolted for the archive's entrance. Gunfire intelligent blasts tore through her body, scorching holes through flesh, but she never once slowed.
今すぐセキュリティシステムの管理権限を奪わなくちゃ。
He was now too weak to fight, but hacking, that's still within reach. This is what we saw on At the base, the moment she burst through the entrance, a handshake signal flared across her interface. Her mind snapped into overdrive, firewalls crumbled under her intrusion one after another, until something pushed back, faint, but undeniable.
おかしい。システムログにアクセス履歴が残ってる。すでに他の人工知能が接続してるってこと。
But there was no time to dwell on it. With the adjutant and 3 manifestations closing in, the system was her only shot.
接続終了。
In a flash, her body disintegrated into data, streaming straight into the archive's security system.
人間どもめ、自分たちの生み出した怪物とやり合うがいい。
Well, here comes the final boss. Endgame. I thought this was like a trash can, but no, it's like a pillar and then like a fire on top. Check. Bitrate's dying, but we're still connected. Bitrate's good. Let's go. Underground Archives, Academic Acropolis. Civilization Guardians, final line of defense. Alright, do we fight all 4 at once, or are they gonna come like one by one? Does anyone play Kirby's Epic Yarn? Or is that another reference that no one's gonna get?
本当の侵入者はさっき同僚との今を通ったのね。あの人間体にコントロールされてるよ。
倒すしかないわけ。さっさと終わらせるわ。
Okay, they fight us one by one, I think. He needs like interruption resistance when she's in her ult, otherwise she's gonna, you know, not. Oh god. I get to respawn in order. In action order. The last health bar is just all 4 combined, I assume. Oh, and my broken keyboard. Honestly, the whale was harder.
席気をつけなさい。
あの顔。
What does that mean? What do you mean you've seen her before? Like, bro, you can't even see her face. Concord Ode, the final and first answer. Look, they said the thing, that's the name of the event. I just words through me for a moment. Who is she? Just as I was about to finish off the last combat android, its faceplate flickered and a human face appeared. Not just Katya, I recognized it too. But the memories wouldn't align, my thoughts scattered, desperately trying to reconnect fragments that refused to form a whole. All I felt was a surge of emotion, but I couldn't place it. Sapphire's voice snapped me back. Whatever that face meant, it didn't matter. Not now. Stopping Eda's perfect human form came first. Even if she's already found the book, Eda should still be under the confinement serum's effect, unable to transmit. If we could take her out before her avatar... If we could take out her avatar before she recovered, we might still win this. Sapphire, keep your eyes on the android. I shot her a quick signal, then turned and charged into the depths of the archives, with Katya and Snowbreak behind me. Eda's perfect human form still hadn't figured out what had happened. The androids controlled by her failed to take down the Adjutant, but she should have had time to escape. Yet, at her weakest moment, another unknown intruder hijacked the security system. She was forcefully ejected, her mind yanked back into her body, back into the archives. In that instant, she knew. Her plan had failed, hopelessly. But one question lingered in her mind. What was written in the book that the host had so desperately sought? Even in defeat, even cut off, with no chance of reaching the host, the question gnawed at her. She was just as desperate to find the answer as the host was. As her androids lunged at the Adjutant, she turned and ran the other way, toward the book. It consumed her thoughts, the only thing that mattered now. By the time we reached the heart of the archives, Eda's perfect human form was already slumped on the floor. Text tomes were scattered carelessly like trash, and in her hands, a black-covered book. I advanced cautiously, gun raised. She didn't move. There she sat, entranced, eyes glued to the open pages as if she hadn't noticed us at all. The chilling laughter grew clearer as I stepped closer. Then she lowered the book, rising to her feet. I assume it's like nothing important, like it's important to us but not to the AI. She looked at me, her smile empty, drained of hope. It's also possible that it's empty, kind of like a certain movie, animated movie's ending. What does that mean? Raised her hand, and intelligence surged across her arm, from her sharp, deadly blade. Tess and Katya immediately moved to shield me, but I already knew what was coming. She's gonna kill herself. Without hesitation, she plunged the blade into her own chest. When the sound had skipped her lips, she simply crumpled to the floor, as lifeless as a puppet with its strings cut. Silence settled over the chamber until Katya stepped forward and picked up the book lying beside her. She frowned at the cover, then shook her head and passed it to me. So it's like philosophy? He was right. The book Edda had risked everything to obtain was a dusty, forgotten anthology from the last century. I suspected it hadn't been digitalized, not due to any secrecy, but because no one had thought it was worth preserving. On the open page, the author, writing in the imagined voice of an AI, posed a question to humanity. If I'm your mirror, then who is the phantom that stares back? Blood from Edda's wound had soaked most of the paper. Beyond that, there is nothing remarkable about the book. I stared at her, still firm in silence. All of this for a tragedy that teetered on the edge of absurdity. By the time we emerged from the archives, the info storm over Philosia had completely dissipated. Most of the campus security bots had powered down or resumed their regular patrols or been shot up. The Titans, some had been taken out by Vidya while evacuating the students, others vanished the moment Edda went offline. My terminal flooded with messages of relief from the girls. Despite being in different locations, their voices shared the same excitement and joy.
Anata, Area 0と他封鎖エリアの状況も落ち着いてきた。地上者はあなたの予想通り、我々の隙を狙って封鎖エリアに入り込もうとした。幸い軍の協力によってそれを阻止できた。フィロゾアの方に集中してくれ。こっちは私に任せろ。分析員さん、ずっと待ってましたよ。もう無事解決したんですか？もう生徒たちを連れ戻しても大丈夫でしょうか？
I replied to the messages one by one. Only after they saw my face, exhausted but unharmed, did they finally let go, content and reassured. I first skipped across the lawn like a rabbit set free, tumbling in pure bliss. It was her first time feeling real grass on her foot, and judging by the look on her face, she'd already fallen in love with it. Everything around me blurred, as if the world had been softened by a filter. I rubbed my eyes instinctively. I've been drawing heavily on my mental strength, though only a few hours had passed since I entered the underground. It felt like days without sleep. While she was like, well, the Adjutant was like on overdrive when fighting Edda with Katya.
疲れたでしょ。帰ってゆっくりと休みましょう。
はいはい。学院に連絡したんだけど、泊まる部屋を用意してくれたみたい。
Luckily, I wasn't alone. In the days that followed, faculty and students of the Academica Acropolis returned to the main campus in waves. Frida threw herself into restoring her alma mater. With one of the Acropolis's legendary alumni at the helm, morale soared, and reconstruction sped ahead like a whirlwind. I mean, it's been a thing for at least a decade in our world, and for them it's like 2062 or something. So, you know, they got some catching up to do, I guess. Once I'd recovered, I took Vidya back out to sea, to that picturesque spot, and she finally took that long-awaited photo with me. She had found her sea legs at last, not even one-legged pose at the bow could shake her. Easy there, Vidya. You just got over your fear of boats. And just like that, the crisis in Philosia came to a close, a clear victory, at least on the surface. But unsolving questions still gnawed at me. Why'd Edda been so obsessed with those books? Well, she thought they were important because they were an archive. Curiosity alone didn't add up. Every step she took felt precise, purposeful, like someone following intel from a trusted source. And setting aside her motives, who was it that, in those final moments, wrestled control of the androids from Edda's perfect human form? She'd called me Chief, a title only ever used by those who served under me, back when I led the security department. Those questions pulled me back. Before I knew it, I was once again standing at the entrance to the underground archives. To my surprise, someone was already there, someone familiar. You're the archives director, right? At the sound of my voice, the blonde woman turned slightly, not quite facing me, but toward the sound.
その声、どこかで聞いたような。失礼ですが、どなたでしょうか。
I'm the adjutant from Yggdrasil.
学院を救ってくれたあのヒーローの方ですか。ご存知の通り、私はこの学院のキュレーターで書庫の管理者も務めています。
I glanced at the blindfold she wore, unsure whether I should ask about it.
あら、困惑しているようですね。
He offered me a soft, disarming smile.
お察しの通り、私は目が見えません。生まれだからこそ、私はキュレーターを任せられました。学院の規定上、キュレーターは目の見えない人でしか務まりません。
So that they don't see what's in the books or what's in the archive. That sounds convenient. Why?
一般的な図書館と違って、学院の書庫にある蔵書の大半は人類文明に必要とされた時以外、貸し出し不可です。
Ah.
本が保管される時に一度名前と位置を記憶しますが、それから数十年、100年以上経ても読まれないことはよくあります。目が見えないので、貴重な本たちから最も近い場所にいる私たちは、本に書かれている禁忌に触れることも、外部に漏らすこともありません。
It's like Shobin Sample. They have to get a guy. It's like the plot of Shobin Sample is that, it's like an all-girls school, and they have to like bring a guy in to like so like the girls can like be familiar with guys and how to interact with them and stuff like that. And for that end, they brought in a guy who was either gay or neutered, so nothing sexual would happen. Something like that. Of course, the plot. That's how the plot of the anime begins, but not how it actually goes on.
そしてハッキング防止のため、私には補助擬態がついていません。
That's hard to comprehend.
ピロゾア人の知恵に対する畏敬と思っていただければ幸いです。
So, if electronic signs allowed down here, how do those combat androids even function?
バトルドールたちは戦闘機能のみを持っています。活性化されると破壊されるまで戦い続けます。
That's insane.
分析員さん、知識を求めるためにここに来たんですよね。よければ教えてください。あなたさ。
In that case, you store anything besides books here? Files, records?
寄贈者の意向に応じて重要な心情調書を保管する場合もございます。
Then I'd like to know if there's a file here on me. She bowed her head slightly, thoughtful.
もう一度お名前をお伺いしても。なるほど。確かに聞き覚えのある名前ですね。ついてきてください。
I followed her once again into the depths of the archives. This woman blind, her steps were remarkably sure and graceful. At each bend in the path, she pivoted it with near perfect accuracy. Well, she's probably been through them a lot. Like counted how many steps it takes to like make a turn or something. We went for nearly 30 minutes before she stopped before a row of shelves.
5段目の一番右にある封筒を取ってください。
I glanced up, and there it was, just as she had said. Your memory is remarkable. I marveled as I lifted the folder.
役目を果たしたまでです。さて、お目当てのものでしたら、ここから左の突き当たりに閲覧室がございます。そこで内容を確認した後、机に置いて自由にご退出ください。では、私はこの辺で。
Bowed lightly before departed. Thank you, ma'am. The moment I took hold of the folder, my eyes locked on the signature scrawled across the cover. My signature. Yet my memory gave me nothing. No spark, no flicker, not even a hint. Dread curled in my chest. I broke into a hurried run. The folder clutched tight, racing into the reading room. What would I find inside? Reports? Letters? Classified files? My heart tightened with every terrifying possibility as I flipped it open. What lay inside was a photograph. A girl with a gentle smile standing beside me. She was the same girl who had seized control of the combat androids. In that instant, memories crashed over me. I remember buying the camera, hiding it in the perfect spot in my room. Yet everything about her remained blank, a haunting void where memory should be. Wonderful. More questions and still no answers. I sighed and raised my terminal, steeling myself to scan the photo. Then I heard footsteps approaching. I looked up, and standing in the doorway was the girl from the photograph.
やっぱりここにいたんですね。
We walked over without waiting for an invitation and sat down beside me. You look exactly like the girl in the photo.
はい、体を取り戻しました。バトルドールたちのいた閉鎖された倉庫に保存されていました。その前は私の意識が書庫のセキュリティシステムに接続されていたので、バトルドールをコントロールしていました。私は多分ヒューマノイドだと思います。
Her gem-like eyes met mine. If I hadn't seen that same face reflected in the androids, I never had believed she wasn't human.
ですが名前も立場ももう思い出せません。覚えているのは、あなたは私の部長で最も信頼している方ということだけ。
A rueful smile tugged at my lips. So this was what it come to. Two memory-wiped strangers playing a guessing game with a snapshot. I glanced back at the picture. That's when she leaned in and gently placed her fingers on my temples.
確かこうすると嬉しいんですね。
That. The warmth of her touch, the gentle pressure, was achingly familiar. I'm sure of it now. We've met before. I looked up at her and smiled. She tilted her head in quiet confusion, then smiled back. In the sunlight, something shimmered, a silver pendant resting against her chest. That's when I noticed it. What? She was nearly identical to the girl in the photo, every feature matched, except for one thing. That pendant. It wasn't in the picture. A strong intuition stirred in me. May I see that pendant? She nodded without hesitation and unclasped it, placing it in my hand. Just as I thought. This wasn't just a piece of jewelry, it was a compact memory unit. Small and sleek, its build strictly similar to Sirius's recorder pen, a device clearly designed for capturing audio. As my fingers brushed the back, a soft chime played, fingerprint verified. I already had a feeling what I was about to hear. Let's play it. This is the Adjutant. It was unmistakably my voice. This is the answer I left to my future self. I entrusted this recording to Luna for safekeeping. So Luna is the AI's name. Luna. I glanced at the girl beside me, but she gave no sign of recognition. Her gaze remained fixed on the memory unit, unfazed. Before I left for Mistleton Station, I prepared for the worst. If I felt at Edda, it could extract every classified detail from my memories. To prevent that, I had to bury this knowledge and Luna's existence ahead of time.
あなたはただのコマ。しかも捨て駒として宿り木宇宙ステーションに行かされたって考えたことはない？ユグドラシルがあなたにしたことはあなたが思ってるよりもずっとひどいんだよ。
I remembered the last time I faced Edda, and the line she had thrown at me came rushing back. When she found out my memories had been tampered with, she must have believed Yggdrasil had tricked me. But she'd never known. I was the one who planned it all. The plan called for planting a seed, hinted my own mind, one that would make me believe something vital was hidden on the campus of the Acropolis, specifically in those digitized books. Edda never had access to them, so she couldn't confirm whether they had contained real knowledge, and that kind of uncertainty for being governed by logic was a critical flaw. It was the only crack I could exploit. If Edda believed the Academica Acropolis had something of value, it wouldn't dare destroy it, which meant, even if the world fell, the sanctuary of human knowledge would remain. No matter how many battles we lost, so long as civilization endured, so did hope. Even if Edda someday uncovered the truth, even if it read every page and realized it had been tricked, by then it would already be too late. We'd have bought precious time. That's why I went through with this plan, because I trusted that my future self would see things the same way. Yes, I figured it out. A chess match, spanning 5 long years, and at last I'd seen the entire board. From the very start, Edda had been wrong. Deeply, fatally wrong. In this long game, I'd been both the hand and the pawn. To beat it, I deceived everyone, even myself. I thought of Edda's perfect human form, reading her for a moment. The look in her eyes when she opened that book. That's when she must have realized she and the host had both been played. And the worst part? She had no way of warning Edda. That was probably what truly broke her. And now, Edda will go on believing the archives still hold what it seeks, which means she won't dare strike with force. It was a trap I laid for an artificial mind, a checkmate with no way out. In the end, only 3 people would ever know of this plan: myself, Luna, and T. But she and I made a vow. If I ever returned from Mistletoe Station, even if I regained my memories, she would never acknowledge her part in it, and I would never speak of it. To keep Edda in the dark, we'd take the secret to our graves. All our records of Luna were erased from Eucharist's database. It wasn't difficult because she was special. Only she could make the ultimate sacrifice this plan required. As the final failsafe, Luna's physical body would be stored at the Acropolis, her consciousness fused into its security system. She was born there, and in the end, she would return there. She didn't have to follow me into the fire aboard Mistletoe Station. This was the best ending I could give her. With that, the recording ended. For a long moment, I said nothing. Then slowly, I raised my head. Luna. I handed the memory unit back to her. Does any of this ring a bell? As expected, she shook her head.
すみません、部長。私、何も覚えていません。
It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. I want you to come back to Yggdrasil with me. There are things we still need to check together. I stood and offered my hand.
はい、部長についていきます。
A dainty hand settled gently into mine. Unlike any other girl's, her hand was icy, delicate, and brittle, like it might shatter with the slightest squeeze. Didn't you say her hand was warm when she touched your temple? Whatever. So familiar, yet so distant. Oh my god. Looks so pretty. By the time we emerged from the underground, the sky was already dark. In the distance, 2 silhouettes stood waiting. One glance, and I already know who they were. Luna, could you head back to the outpost with me? Without me, I've got something to take care of.
はい、部長。
As Luna faded into the darkness, I turned and walked toward the waiting figures, pretending not to notice them. Before I reached them, Tess leaped out from behind a small bush, hoping to startle me.
分析員、びっくりした？
No.
顔を見ればわかるでしょ。とっくに気づいてたのよ。
ちゃんと隠れられてると思ったのに。
You're standing up behind a tiny bush. I chuckled and reached out, taking their hands. Can you two be busy handling the hydrogen contamination at the Acropolis? What are you two doing out here?
あのね、分析員。もう夜の11時だよ。
自分の男が外で何をしてるのか気になって様子見に来ちゃダメ？
I guess I got a little carried away lately.
で、何を探してたの？
My past. I paused for a moment, then turned to Katya. Back in the archives, you said you met that girl before, right?
ええ。傭兵時代、初めてあなたと作戦に出た時、 紹介してくれたわ。確かルナっていう子だっけ。
That lines up.
でもあれ以降名前を聞かなくなったからてっきり。
You might find this hard to believe, but in my memory, it was just the two of us on that op. The disbelief was written plain on their faces. Don't worry, I'll fill you in the whole story. Which kind of filling them in. Back in our room, with Katya and Tess beside me, I told them everything I had uncovered in the archives. As I shared Luna's backstory, shock swept across their faces. But when I explained the trap I'd set for Edda, their reactions surprised me. They both understood immediately.
確かに分析員らしいね。ことあるごとに自分を犠牲にしたがるのって。
でも分析員、計画は誰にも教えちゃダメって録音で言ったでしょ。
Back then, Luna was the only person I could trust, but things are different now. Now I have both of you. Whatever comes next, I'm not facing it alone. You've told me before that something about me helped you face your fears. Now it's my turn to say this. Katya, Tess, you've changed me too, in ways I've never saw coming. Maybe fate's been nudging us this whole time, leading us to meet before the descent, and ending up here in Philosophy together. And to mark everything we've been through, I've got something for you both. I reached in my coat and pulled out 2 rings. Gently, I slid one onto each of their fingers, their eyes widened in surprise. See, I haven't just been wandering around, I even planned a proper ceremony for our covenant. Words could no longer capture the depth of what we shared, still, I laid my heart bare.
分析員ってこういう時に限ってロマンティックなんだよね。
You see Tess is like, she has like the emote for blushing. Jesus, it's so like red. She leaned her head on my shoulder, eyes twinkling as she admired the ring on her finger.
うまいことを言って自分が緊張してるのを隠してるんでしょ。
With a content smile, Katya brushed a kiss against my cheek.
この時のために返事を考えておいてよかったわ。私の一番眩しい理想として。
私の一番信頼できる現実として。
これからもずっとそばにいて。
私を幸せにして。
あなた。
Past, the present, the future, countless questions still lingered. What does it mean to be human? What gives us purpose? How do we save the ones we love? I didn't have the perfect answers. But I knew this much. Even if the path ahead is lined with thorns, I walked it this far, and I'll keep walking. As for tonight, though, let me set it all aside. Let me cherish this quiet, silent moment with the 2 girls who mean the world to me. Oh man. There's still more. I don't know what they're about. Let's see, what time is it? Hi Loyujitsu, I don't know when you commented. Hope you did wait long for me to respond. Hold on, I need to redo my motion capture. Hold on. Okay, it should be good. First of all, hi. Second of all, man, this is a great story. We've been streaming for almost 4.5 hours. We probably have enough time for these, but I think what we should do is to take a look at the other bits of the event. Bro, I just claimed all of that. Is there more? Let's go Go Rush Party. Let's chill out in Monopoly. So it's 4 people this time. Let's play. Hit the path. Well, this is certainly better. Let's do this one. We probably want to go to red first so we can get a hold of the hotel first, but we can't, so we have to go up. 1. Oh, do roadblocks not block their own? Like themselves? There's a block there. You could turn Fidia around. You could turn Fidia around and make her only move once. Let's turn Fidia around. And make her only be able to walk once. Yeah, that should be all we need to do. Got another card. Oh, she turns this way. Well, I think she can choose. Okay, so that makes sense. Well, let's move again. We have to go this way, come on. I feel like we could just block this area so that way she has to walk into either one of the traps. Right here. We're gonna get hit by another trap. For following systems, the expeditive of Ember. You know that from the story. Wow, Rhea is just targeting us. Titan's hand, bam. Let's move. Got a good card. Damn. That's a first buy, honestly, I think. I don't know if we have enough range, if it's ranged. Well, let's not use it yet. Well, everyone lost money. Why are they just using it on like such a low amount? Damn, she's just buying. I'm gonna freeze Muxer so she steps on that tile. Rest her one turn. Dang it. What if the trap? Oh, she might have a card. Well, everyone is just... There's so much going on. Like we got another explosive in front of all of us stolen. Well, Fridia has it worse. Has it the worst, I think, in this run. We got some gold. First index went up. I want to just like lay traps all over here. There we go. Then we move. 5. Finally got our first house. Oh, she lost a lot of money from the explosives. Surprisingly, Frida doesn't have the least money. I guess it's her because she stepped into the trap that I set earlier. Alright, let's move. Let's get some money. We finish this objective. Not a Titan's hand. You bought our— oh my god. Didn't know that can happen. Got a bunch of cards. Sure. I want to go down here. I want to get this, you know, this. Which means 1 to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we can move once first, and then we can choose how much we want to move. Ember. You're not taking my money. Rest for one turn. What is this? Okay. Let's move right here, so that if she wants to put a trap, she might have a chance to step on it. The hotel, and also if she comes over here, then or not, while stolen. I was gonna say if she steps on the hotel, then she's gonna pay a lot of money. Alright, let's move. Rest again. Bam. Why did they use Titan's Ascent but nothing happens? Wonder why. Where's the most money or least? Moxer's the most money. Also, she's the one who tried to make me pay. Oh, she only lost money. We didn't gain the money back because we were resting, I think. Oh, now we have to step on the... Moxer is getting punished. We don't need to split money yet. Let's get on the trap. Yeah, Titan's Ascent. It's Ascent, and no one's near. She's near a plot. What is it? Level 1. Yeah, so let's not use it yet. Well, I should use it on us so that we don't get anything from the tiles. Damn. Oh god. Oh god.
トラップカード発動。え、向こう？
Well, let's move. I think we might have to change money with Furia later. Direction, let's go this way. Got 2 more cards. Sail. That's nice. Damn, that's love. Ooh, she's out.
小遣い稼ぎ。悩んだけど、やっぱり特別なプレゼントはこれにしよう。トラップカード発動。え、向こう？
There's the next one up. How does the sail work? Okay, so it's useless right now if we land on here. We can't really use Titan's Descent either. And we skipped over the hotel anyway. New card. Let's throw this away. That's like the least useful. The Moxer, it doesn't really matter. There's no screw mines nearby, so dang it. It's okay. The richer she gets, the more money we get when we use the card. Everyone lost money. Another card. Who's this one? I forgot what that does. Let's remove you. We have like 2 of those already. I should have probably removed the sale card. 6 days left. Let's hold on to the card for a bit longer. Titan's Descent again. Let's move sale card. Oh damn, we lost. I should have got more money. Oh well. We have to... Okay, we don't have to finish Chapter 3 to get the best rewards. You just have to do it once, and you already get the rewards. And you can also unlock free play mode. Okay, let's wait a bit. Too much mini game from my brain today. I guess we just look at the files then. Let's wrap things up. Because the rest are... I don't know if I'll... Yeah, we probably will be streaming like the main story first. And then we'll do these because some of them are locked behind the main story progression. So let's look at the files. Moonlit Interlude, New Moon, a mission. It was a memory long buried. For the sake of that final victory, you forced yourself to forget. But now, the time has come. Time to return to the spring of 2056, before the descent, before it all began, and raise your glass. Whatever was about to unfold, it was your story and yours alone. But remember, every choice you make will shape their fate. That's interesting. Glass by glass with a crisp, clean chime. Under the bar's hazy lights, the deep red liquid caught the glow and shimmered temptingly.
やっぱりここの味が一番最高ですね。部長、あれだけすごいことを成し遂げたのに、なんで薬ともしないんですか？もうちょっと笑ってくださいよ。
Reached forward, playful, like she meant to tug a grin onto my lips. I caught her hand before she could.
些細な手がかりから降臨弾の拠点を見つけて15名を逮捕、人質を1人救出したんですよ。安全部全体の歴史からしてもすごいことですから。
By anyone else's standards, this would absolutely call for a serious celebration. What's the latest on the hostage?
安心してください。会社で治療を受けていますよ。
Has her identity been confirmed?
いいえ、確認したんですが、ミッドガルドのデータベースには入っていません。他地区のデータを照合するとなると、さらに時間がかかります。しばらくは会社にいると思うので、見舞いに行きますか？
Colonel. Okay. I remembered the small, trembling figure curled up in the dark. When I pulled her out, she felt weightless, barely heavier than the blanket I wrapped her in. No, best not to involve her in anything Adventist-related again. She'd been through enough. There's no reason to risk reopening that trauma.
わかりました。でも部長ってほんと仕事にしか興味がないんですね。嬉しそうにしてるところ見たことないですし。もしかして会社が開発した安全ロボットなんですか？
I'm trying to get a better grasp on the timeline. So, like, our earliest memory is being with, like, what looked like our sister, who looked like Edda. After we got separated, somehow, we got into Yggdrasil. We somehow went with the mercenary Luna. We rescued Mersault, or Cherno, rather. Cherno and Mersault, well, Cherno and Mersault, and then we met Tess as some sort of teacher. And then we got sent to Mistletoe Station, and then all this stuff happened after. It was just part of the job, nothing worth celebrating.
でも仕事以外の趣味って特にないんですよね。
That she wasn't wrong. Ever since joining Yggdrasil, I've thrown myself completely into the work and rose through the ranks faster than anyone before me. But the price was clear. I'd nearly forgotten how to live outside of it. I'd still catch the Valkyrie games when I get a chance. The gaze drifted toward the center of the bar, where a hollow screen shimmered with the 7 Valkyrie games live feed.
部長が試合を見るのもこれからの仕事のためにあらかじめ会場の状況とスタッフの位置を確認してるんですよね。
Sometimes I really wish you'd stop using your psych background on me, Luna. Took a long sip from my glass, then slid hers over. I sought a way of quieting her down for a moment. She joined me just last year, fresh from the Academica Acropolis, bright, intuitive, sharp in operations, comms, even fieldwork. If only she'd apply the same precision to personal boundaries, especially with me.
私の前でわざわざ取り繕う必要はないですよ。本当に試合に興味があるんでしたら、今生中継に映ってる2人の選手の名前を言えますか
？Fanny and Life. I followed her pointing finger to the display where 2 contestants were locked in a fierce firefight. The silver-haired one, calm demeanor, that's gotta be... Wife. It's Life.
知ってたんですね。
Last year's champion, I remember that much. Her opponent was a golden-haired girl in ornate gear. Where life moves with precision and control, this one felt like fireworks. That's funny, right? Hard to forget someone like her.
はい、去年の準優勝ですね。今年再戦するということで注目の対戦カードですよ。ほら、視聴者数も去年の人数を超えてますし。
Run up, huh? Watching that confident grin bloom across Fanny's face, I caught myself smiling too, without even noticing. We sat and watched the game in companionable silence for a moment. Jesus Christ. Then I gave a faint shake of my head. Not much tactical use here.
もちろんですよ。民間人を客層にした競技ゲームですし、私たちとはやり方が違います。
Right, they're nothing like us. I poured myself another drink and knocked it back in one go. Two different worlds. They live in the spotlight, I work behind the scenes, nowhere our paths would ever cross. Not now, not ever. Well...
そこまでの話ではないと思いますが。
Luna was just about to argue with her headset when her headset lit up with a sharp tone. We both frowned. After hour comms was never good news. She flicked open her hall display, scanned it quickly, then gave me a resigned nod.
タオさんに呼ばれてますよ。行きましょう。
Midgard always seemed stagnant. That thought crossed my mind again as I stared out the hovercraft window. Most would argue otherwise. Around Yggdrasil's headquarters, ad boards and neon signs seemed to shift by the hour. Occasionally, a signboard vanished overnight, erased from the skylines as if it never existed. An eco-park relocated to the outskirts, and from its ruins, a new skyscraper rose, devouring the space where trees and vines once grew. To many, these were signs of progress, proof that this so-called City of Miracles was still alive, still evolving. But ever since Yggdrasil and the military announced the end of the Jevusus crisis, what hadn't changed loomed far larger than what had. Like that underground cult we took down not long ago. Strip away the gleaming veneer of prosperity, and what lay beneath began to show its true nature.
部長。部長？
A hand waved suddenly in front of my face, pulling me back from the blur of neon streaking past the window.
何見ているんですか？面白いものでもありました？
He leaned in without warning, practically halfway into the seat. You might want to ease up on the snacks. You're taking up half my seat. With her weight came a curtain of soft hair brushing my cheek, carrying a faint scent of jasmine.
さすがに失礼ですよ、部長。
Did you say I didn't have to hold back around you?
それとこれとは別で。
She fell quiet halfway through her retort.
部長、あそこで燃えてるのって、もしかして。
I feel like the music should change by now. She shifted aside, giving me a clear through the window. Far off in the distance, beneath the sweep of searchlights, a thick column of smoke billowed skyward, directly in front of Midgard's tallest landmark, the Yggdrasil headquarters. The fire alone wouldn't be enough to threaten a structure that size, but the swarm of security department agents rushing in, that told a different story. As I processed the scene, Luna's terminal lit up, alert after alert chiming in rapid succession.
安全部の当番と会社にいる他部門責任者からのメッセージです。
Send word. Lock down the perimeter until I speak with the boss. If there are any injuries, direct them to the nearest hospital. Do not bring them back inside Yggdrasil.
わかりました。
Luna gave a sharp nod and summoned her holographic display. With her eyes closed, streams of text flickered to life across the screen, and in seconds, dozens of replies were dispatched.
送信完了しました。
In this era, bionic augmentation is nothing unusual. But Luna fell on the more radical end of the spectrum. The implant at the base of her skull links directly to her terminal, letting her process later at blistering speeds. Even so, handling this many requests so efficiently? Still impressive. One of the reasons I trusted her so much. Alright, prep for landing. The aircraft touched down in a smooth glide atop the rooftop pad. Without a word, Luna and I headed straight for the private elevator. It dropped fast, and within moments, we arrived at the floor housing the command room. But when the door slid open, what greeted me was not what I expected. At your tea. I raised a brow, dragged the chair over without ceremony, and sat down. She looked like she was in her early 30s at most, but in fact, she was on Yggdrasil's board of directors and responsible for its two most critical programs, AI development and the Balder inhibitor. Of all the directors, T was the only one still conducting hands-on research. She avoided routine meetings and public appearances. We rarely crossed paths. Luckily, the person standing beside her was someone I didn't know. Caroline von Stauffenberg, T's current executive assistant. She'd once been a frontline operative until an injury moved her into administrative work. Like me, she worked closely with the directors, and over time, we developed a quiet rapport. Sometimes we'd trade stories about internal politics just to stay sane. She caught the look in my eye and gave a tiny nod, a silent cue. Listen first, speak later. Standard pleasantry. But from her flat, clinical voice, it sounded more like a line from a briefing report. Just doing my job.
先に言っておきますが、本日の件は極秘事項のため、できるだけ信頼できる方のみを同行させるようお願いします。開発部関連の件ではありますが、秘密保持のため、私から直々に説明を行います。
I gave a silent nod, but something about her phrasing triggered a quiet alarm in the back of my head. The way she said it, it almost implied the other directors weren't in the loop. Rumors of friction among the board weren't new, but I'd always made it a point to stay away from internal politics. So as long as things stayed cordial among the board, I still had room to climb, but if it ever came to picking sides, there would be no safe place to stand. I stayed quiet, and he continued.
では、エッダについてどこまで知っていますか?
Eda, an AI system developed by Yggdrasil to assist with Balder inhibitor research. Its mainframe is currently housed aboard the Milton Station.
はい、結構です。宇宙ステーションにいるエッダのアップデートとメンテナンスを行うときは、人員と設備を宇宙に送らなければいけません。
With a flick of her wrist, T signaled Caroline. The assistant stepped forward and handed me a printed photo. A chip. The moment I saw the photo, a hunch took hold. This is an upgrade module for Eda, isn't it?
ええ。社内では6番チップと呼ばれています。エッダの処理能力を大きく向上させられるもので、我々にとって非常に大事なものです。
Sounds like this wasn't the first upgrade. But I didn't say out loud, not once, in all my time heading security, had I received any escort orders for a module like this. T caught my doubt immediately. She tapped the table once with her finger.
先ほど説明した通り、エッダに関することのため、チップの開発と輸送は開発部が直々に担当しています。開発部以外だと、社内外問わずチップのことを知る人はほぼいません。
And now it's missing. The fire at the gate. T's a typical tension. It wasn't hard to connect the dots.
今回の件は正直偶然というか。
He was trying to soften the blow, ease me away from pushing T too hard, but T didn't let her.
偶然だとしても、私たちの落ち度です。
はい、おっしゃる通りです。
I just noticed, like, this pattern on her chest, it lines up with some other operatives' like clothing.
カロリン、事件の詳細を説明してあげてください。
わかりました。では、こちらをご覧ください。
He handed me another photo, this time showing a compact memory unit.
こちら、会社に所属している研究者のメモリです。中には、彼女が独自で開発したプログラム、火種システムが入っています。
It's pretty, yeah? The name far more evocative than chip number 6.
彼女によると、火種を使えば、一般の方でも楽々と人工知能を用いてプログラムのカスタマイズを行えるため、機械の使用難易度が大きく下がるだそうです。あ、ルナが使用している機体も火種に接続すれば訓練なしで使いこなせるようになります。
At the unexpected mention of her name, Luna blinked once, then gave an acknowledging nod.
とにかくこのシステムは先日ベータ版がローンチされ、民間から注目を集めています。 人工知能反対団体の人が訪ねてきて、火種は違法活動に利用される可能性が高いため廃棄すべきだと訴えかけてきました。人工知能であれば何でも反対するような方たちなので、会社側はもちろん了承しませんでした。
Caroline let out a quiet sigh.
ですが今日、火種のメモリを乗せた輸送車が会社付近でカージャックに遭い、メモリもボートたちに奪われてしまいました。6番チップを乗せた輸送車はその車の後ろについていました。目的地は全く違うのに、会社のロゴがあるだけで無差別に襲われて、チップもメモリも行方不明になりました。人工知能反対団体は6番チップの価値についてよく知らないはずなので、大げさに捜索を始めるとかえって気づかれてしまいます。チップ紛失による損失は会社には手に負えないので、できるだけ早くかつ安全に解決してください。それのために最大限の予算とサポートを提供いたします。
This is on cue. Caroline produced a magnetic card, jet black, only with Jupiter's logo. But as she said, with this, I could mobilize near limitless resources.
会社は昔からあなたのことを有能だと認めています。3日以内にチップを取り戻してください。
3日って。
Luna glanced at me, hesitant, but I didn't take my eyes off T. わかりました. I slipped the key card into my coat. I knew clearly this wasn't a request. Refusal was never on the table. All I could do now was figure out how to turn this sudden temporary authority into a stepping stone toward a better future. As for recovering the chip, that was just part of the job. So if you know how like every operative we have, there's files for them, like it was like these, you know. In my mind, what we're seeing here in Concord Ode, this is our file or Luna's file, if you think about it that way. Anyway, Moonlit Incident, Crescent Moon, a clue. How long did that take? Damn. Once T and Caroline left, it was just me and Luna in the command room. I talked with the matte black clearance card, spinning it between my fingers while Luna paced in mild frustration. When it became obvious I wasn't going to engage, she finally halted in front of me. She pouted in exaggerated frustration, putting on her best impression of a poor, overworked assistant. Much of one in such a short time, first step is gathering every lead we can't find. Who else am I counting on? You're the best at this. Oh, we're looking for backup. He wants to keep this to, but if things get messy, just the two of us won't cut it. This whole thing might go all the way to the top. Bringing someone outside might actually be safer. There's an independent merc. Recommended by someone I trust. Might be time we finally met. It's Katya. After a few detours, I found myself back at the bar where Luna and I had shared drinks earlier. It was already late, but the place was still buzzing. I made straight for the booth in the back corner and took the seat with my back to the wall. Every 10 minutes later, I heard the sharp click of heels approaching. I looked up, right on cue. The girl who stopped on my table was tall, guarded. Everything about her posture, outfit, the way she held her jaw said, "Keep your distance." She offered a curt nod before sliding into the seat across from me. We contract her, but not contract, but you know. That's me.
コードネームにしては独特なセンスね。
You gave me a quick once over, blunt, unimpressed. I could already tell she wasn't sold on that name.
仲介人から聞いたと思うけど、カーシア・クラインよ。依頼について聞かせて。傭兵の仕事なら何でも OK。
You talked like a pro. Quick tone, no wasted words, but the cracks showed. Judging by her face, she couldn't have been much older than 20. For a second, I wondered if the middleman had said the wrong girl. What do you have, Miss Klein? Slipped my fingers to call over the service bot. She barely glanced at the menu before tapping at the very first item.
アルスターフォグちょうだい。
Bold choice. I'll take the house special. The bot hummed off toward the bar, and I turned my full attention back to Klein. I'll get straight to it. I asked the middleman for someone who works alone, no fuss, no mess. That's why you're here. I need help recovering stolen assets. Full payment, top rate, upfront. In return, the submission stays off the record. This meeting, it never happened. Details, target, timeline, logistics, I'll send to your terminal.
そう、
No questions?
特に。
They didn't offer an explanation. Didn't seem like she thought one was necessary. An awkward silence settled in. I hadn't expected this meeting to wrap up before our drinks even arrived. Should I leave now? But that would almost feel rude. Miss Klein, that weapon on your back. Was that a crossbow?
そうよ。
But old school, huh?
扱いやすくて音もしない。その上目立たないから。
Right. Low profile, says the girl holding a crossbow in plain sight. I bit back on the comment. I bit back to comment. No need to start things off on the wrong foot. I was about to search for a better topic, but a surface bot returned just in time. Cheers, here's to a smooth op. Raised my glass her way, already thinking I'd down it and call it a night. For some reason, she gave her drink a quick glance, like she wasn't sure about this part. Then she lifted the glass, gave it a half-hearted clink, and downed it in one go. Wait, on one go?
つまり傭兵さんは知らないものを注文したってことですか？
Back in Yujizo's command room, Luna looked way too pleased as she watched me peel off my jacket, still reeking of mist and ulcer, and change into spare outfit she prepped. It had been 2 hours since I rushed Klein some mouthwash and made sure she got home in one piece. She told me later it was her first time drinking in a bar, didn't want to look like a rookie in front of me, so she faked it. Her exact words, that stuff was disgusting, never drinking again. I don't know if I mentioned my experience with alcohol. I mean, you know, as you know, I should talk about myself from time to time. I think I do this in every stream. My first drink in a bar was martini pineapple. I think I mentioned this before. I liked it. My second drink, I hated it. It tastes like medicine. I don't think the name is like, I don't think I can like say the name of the drink without like getting banned. You know, because I'm a small VTuber after all. But you know, if it were me, I would have asked, you know, what's a recommendation or whatever. You know, or like I would, you know, if the opportunity presented itself, I could have. Let's see. Come on. The scrolling's kind of unplugged. I would have like see what the other person has first, but in that circumstance, the adjutant asked what Katya would take, so you know, fair point.
なんだかまだ新米っぽいですね。部長、やっぱり他の人にお願いしません？
Now I double checked her background. She's still the best fit for this. When she's back on her feet, I'll bring her in again. What about your side?
はい、こちらをご覧ください。
With a dramatic flair, she brought up a map all the zones around Yggdrasil.
会社周辺にある民間用監視カメラをお借りして反対団体の動きを大体つかみましたよ。
Piggybacked?
私の権限ではちょっと足りなかったので部長の上級権限を拝借しちゃいました。
Why am I not surprised?
とにかく反対団体はあらかじめ避けては通れない道についてる会社のカメラをハッキングしたので民間のカメラを確認するしかなかったんです。まあハッキングの腕はお粗末でしたけど何回か暗号化工程を挟んでましたがそれでもトラッキングしやすかったです。反対団体は会社の露天駐車場から 200m 離れた場所で道路を通行止めにして数の暴力で2分未満で輸送車の運転手2人を気絶させました。そして荷物を強奪して車に火をつけたんです。幸い運転手を火に入れることだけはしなかったみたいですね。それから荷物を手分けして運んで違う方向へ向かって逃げていきました。厄介なのは監視カメラの映像だけでは誰がチップを持っていったのかが分かりません。
Just have to track them all down.
しらみつぶしに調べていくと3日以上かかりますよ。
After laying out the situation, Luna got up and gave a languid stretch. Anything new in the NCAI group?
人工知能の発展を制限することをモットーにおおよそ10年前から活動を開始した団体ですね。ただ一つだけ引っかかるんですが今までは主にデモとオンライン演説
There could be another group disguising as the NCAI people.
なのに今回会社の荷物を狙った行動はなんだか
Which leaves two options. Someone's impersonating them, or someone on the inside is pulling their strings.
はい、タイミングが良すぎますよね。火種の機密レベルは6番チップより低いものの輸送時間とルートは外部に漏れていないはずです。今回のカージャックは決して突発的なことではありません。事前準備も後片付けも念入りに行っていました。それに
Luna trailed off, raising a finger toward the ceiling. I caught her meaning. T's concern, the pinpoint strike. It all points to a mole. If this were just a rogue employee, we'd probably shut it down, but if it's a board-level power play, count me out. Let's park that theory for now. Here's what we should do first. Track the hack surveillance node. If the hackers involved, odds are they're operating out of a central hub. Better to take out the brains than chase every pawn.
そう言われると思いました。町の南、郊外にある廃棄された倉庫にいるはずです。いつでも出発できますよ。
Nice work. I paused, thinking how far we'd come since Luna joined. How did I ever manage without her? I'll grab the gear. You get the hovercraft ready. Lift up in 5. Since joining Yggdrasil, I'd rarely stopped beyond Midgard's central districts. Then again, this city might as well be its own country. Just the urban core housed over 10 million. And counting the full sprawl, closer to 40. That's not even including the outer satellite zones. Fueled by advanced logistics, Midgard ran like a sci-fi machine, sucking in outside resources and churning out goods and glowing market indexes. By the time our hovercraft reached the southern outskirts, dawn had just begun to break. But in a city that never truly slept, even sunrise looked pale behind the haze of neon. We pulled off on an open patch of ground a few clicks from the target warehouse. Far enough to avoid tipping them off. After disembarking, I handed Luna her gear.
あれ、結局スタンガンのみですか。てっきりもっと強いものを使うのかと思いました。
Luna's obsession with heavy firepower. For not like those big toys stay in storage.
10年ってそんな痛いのが苦手で負傷したくないだけですよ。
Puffed out her cheeks like a sulky chipmunk. Speaking of pain, did you skip your last physical with that excuse? Guess who had to clean up that mess for you?
だってそれが苦手なんですもん。
Nice try, not gonna work on me. If you really want to make it up to me, stay sharp. Let's finish this quick and clean.
はいはい。部長は公正無視なんですから。
After we circled the perimeter, Luna and I slipped in through a rear window of the warehouse. As I'd expected, something fell off the moment we stepped inside. It looked abandoned from the outside, but inside, signs of recent cleaning were obvious. I signaled to Luna, drew my stun gun, and moved silently along the wall. Soon I heard soft rustling deeper in the warehouse. Peering through the shelving, I spotted a young woman hunched over a workbench, her back facing me. Three others lounged nearby, dressed in plain clothes, chatting like it was any regular day. None looked trained for combat, no weapons, nothing to suggest they were more than civilians. A theory began to take shape in my mind. Luna shot me a quick gesture. Should we kill them now? I shook my head, holstered my weapon, and stepped into the open, Luna following closely. Upon hearing our footsteps, the murmurs halted and eyes snapped to us in alarm. City Security Bureau, we will need your full cooperation. Tense, exchanging uncertain glances, I casually reached for the badge on my belt and held it up for them to see. The one who seemed like the leader turned pale. The others dropped their eyes, avoiding any gaze. You've heard the reports. You Grizzled had a shipment stolen just yesterday. I interrupted her flimsy excuse without so much as a change in tone, and closed the gap between us. I'll have you all know, one of the primary suspects is already in custody. I flicked open my terminal, scrolling through as if they weren't even there. According to her confession, several civilians either volunteered or were misled into assisting with the hijacking. Under home law, that's considered a serious felony. Beads of sweat trickled down their brows. Two of them shifted uneasily, clearly on the verge of bolting. Although, I let the word hang in the air before offering a deliberately disarming smile. As it stands, there's no hard evidence tying you to the crime, and right now, no one else knows you're here except me. Security only needs a ringleader. If you tell me what I need to know, I could look the other way. Bro, just what's with the voice acting? Because I started out in the lower city myself. The moment I slipped into that lower city accent, myself, okay, that's why. A flicker of surprise passed over every face in the room, even Luna's. You have my word. She hesitated, her eyes flickering with uncertainty, but after a long breath, she met my gaze and nodded. You mean the anti-AI group? Makes sense. We see them in like politics nowadays as well. People pay for other people to protest. Everything she said matched up perfectly with Luna's findings. You mentioned this was your usual meetup spot, so do you ever see any of them face to face? The woman's expression darkened, shame and frustration flickered across her features. What? You're telling me an anti-AI group was orchestrated by a robot?
顔が割れるのが嫌だというので、いつもロボットを使って遠いところから私たちと連絡を取っていますね。声もわからないように処理してるんです。だから実際に会ったことはありません。
I must have looked doubtful because she quickly added,
嘘はついてません。
I believe you. Can you describe the robot?
だいたい2メートルくらいの黒いやつで、そこまで重くないものだと思いますが。
You know, you got everything? We left the warehouse and made our way back to the car.
もちろんこの特徴を持っていて遠距離通信可能なロボットの型番は一つしかありません。
Luna's fingers danced across her terminal, summoning a streak of schematic of the bot.
この型番の安全ロボットは会社が大量に注文するのがメインで、ネットに記録のある個人依頼は5件しかありません。ロボットの最大通信距離を考慮に入れると怪しいのはこの1件のみです。
Terminal display shifted into a map. A single private estate, 10 clicks out, highlighted in bold red.
さあ拍手していいですよ。
Copies, chat. I gave her 2 half-hearted claps, just to humor her. Let's move. I'll contact client en route.
そういえば部長は下町で暮らしたことがあったんですか？
No, I told you, I didn't move to Midgard until I came of age.
じゃあなんで方言が話せたんですか？
Most people you deal with are Yakuza employees, but the city is bigger than that. You work this job long enough, you meet all kinds, learn how they talk, what makes them tick, speak their language, and doors open faster.
つまりあの証明書も
Replica sent me back 500 silver bucks. I chuckled, giving her a light tap to the head, then slid to the hovercraft. Impersonating government officials is a felony. Moonlit internet, filmlet, a bullet. We also get 2 avatars. Oh, it's Katya and Tess in like the wedding gown. Okay, that's nice. After paying Klein with a rendezvous point, Luna and I came to a nearby fast food joint for a quick bite. After a sleepless night, I couldn't stop yawning while we waited for our food. Luna, on the other hand, looked like she just started her day, bright-eyed and full of energy. Fast food's really living up to the name these days. I watched the service bot glide over with our tray and just shook my head. 2 identical burgers sat on the tray, same lettuce, same patties, same sauce. Even the sesame seeds were a carbon copy. Note that they're factory standard products, just reheated on site.
せっかくだしそう言わずに楽しみましょうよ。
Luna's clearly loving it. Between office duties and chilling terminal work, she really got the chance to enjoy street food. Me, I burned out on it ages ago. Still, I forced it down and called it a meal. Meal? That's me. 20 minutes later, Klein showed up outside the diner. Klein, Luna, Luna, Klein.
こんにちは、クラインさん。
こんにちは。
As prompt as ever, classic Klein.
作戦計画は来る途中で確認しといたわ。で、いつやるの？
Now, follow me. We'd already scouted the surrounding terrain, so it didn't take long to find a low-rise building with a perfect vantage point of the front yard.
部長、あちらを見てください。
I followed her pointing finger. Just outside the gates, 5 security bots patrolled the perimeter, flanked by a few sentry drones.
やっぱりこの前の一般人と接触するために使われた型番ですね。
あれだけいるのに、誰にも疑われないの？
A quota like this already sticks out like a sore thumb in the lower city. Honestly, I'd be more surprised if it didn't have its own private army standing guard. Luna, can you reach your system? She brought up her terminal, aimed it toward the structure, tapped through a quick sequence, then shook her head.
ネットと繋がってない上に見張れ
Air
を
gapped.
指示されていま
I
す
mean
ね。
airtight?
ハッキング
That'll do. I'll take 3 posted out front. Luna handled the pair by the gate. Klein, can you take drones? She gave a crisp nod, drew her crossbow, and melted into the shadows. Let's move. I gave Luna a quick nod, drew my sidearm, and took the first shot. Shots. The gunshot cracked through the air as I surged forward, slamming into the nearest bot and sending it sprawling with a kick. Before I could recover, I brought my pistol down hard, smashing its faceplate with one decisive strike. Farther off, the first bot I shot was staggering toward me. Another one, undamaged, was closing in right behind it. With about 50 meters between us, both raised their built-in SMGs and opened fire. But I was already moving. I scoped out the layout beforehand, using crates and containers as cover. I closed the distance fast, trading shots as I advanced. The damage run dropped first, my rounds shooting through its chassis in a burst of sparks. The second bot didn't back down. It charged, aiming to finish the fight up close. Big mistake. Up close is my turf. As head of security, I had spotted with Yugusu's combat androids more times than I could count. Bot swung a reinforced fist. I slipped the blow, slid behind it, and drove a solid kick into its back. It crashed forward, arms flailing. I was fully aware that this model was built for mobility, not durability, and thanks to the ones I just disabled, I had already pinpointed the weak spot, the head. Go figure. 2 clean shots to the back of the skull dropped it. The machine spasmed, then went still. Like, since when was the head not the weak spot? Like, aside from that one bot in Real Steel, I guess. I glanced toward the gates. Both bots were already down. Luna's doing. Probably overrode one. Used it to disable the other, then triggered a self-destruct. The patrol drones that had been circling above were now wrecked and scattered across the ground. Glenn's work, no doubt. With the perimeter clear and the gunfire likely drawing eyes from the neighborhood, I didn't waste a second. Stepping up to the front gate, I kicked it in. The foyer was empty, but the scattered cushions and upturned chairs told me everything I needed. Someone had left in a hurry. They couldn't have gotten far. Luna, sweep the first floor. Klein, second. I shoot the order on the fly. They peeled off without hesitation. I made straight for third. First one clear, second, nothing. Then I saw it. The last door at the end of the hall. My gut twisted. This was the one. Breach. I moved on instinct, kicking the door wide, then diving hard to the side. A burst of gunfire whipped past, chewing into the wall where I'd just been. A shrill voice, panic, coming from the inside. An idea struck. I reached out and knocked over her face with a sharp crash. Predictably, it startled the woman inside, and she fired a few more rounds behind her. By the time I waltzed into the room, she finally realized her magnum to empty. She fired about 5 shots, so you know it's a Nick. The gunshot sound also matched. Her voice does not match her appearance. If this were some trending net drama, come on. This would be the part where I lower my weapon, hear out some impassioned monologue about fighting corporate tyranny, and we part ways with mutual respect. But instead, I raised my stun gun and dropped her on the spot. Anti-AI Crusaders, give me a break. The terminal she was using was a unit from one of Yugo's biggest competitors. People like her love hiding behind righteous slogans, but in the end, it's always about money. It's sickening. I stepped over her twitching form and approached the terminal, humming across the room. There it was, the memory unit containing the Ember system would upload. And shipment number 6 just tossed it aside, like some discount flyer nobody asked for. I turned. Luna and Klein were already coming down the hallway. Found our prize. I nodded toward the terminal. Verify the contents, Luna, then wipe it clean. Luna dove into the system with practiced ease, and I turned to Klein instead. You good? Any injuries? He paused, then glanced up at me. Something like that, just answer to a different kind of client. You interested? I can show you a few moves, if you got time. Another pause. After a moment's thought, she gave a small nod, then looked away. She then handed me something I haven't seen in years, an old school paper business card. Interesting. I'll keep it safe.
してるんですか？部長、
The small vanished in a flash. In one fluid motion, Luna lunged and tackled me to the floor. Gunfire cracked, a sharp clang followed, and a heavy thud.
生き残りがいたなんて。
Lowering her crossbow, Klein stepped past us and peeked into the hallway. 10 meters out, a security bot lay sprawled, an arrow driven deep into its chest blade. And it stuck up while my guard was down. It's okay, Luna. I'm fine. I moved to help her up. That's when I noticed it. She was clutching her left arm, fingers trembling. You're hurt? I leaned in, frowning, but before I could inspect the wound, she shook her head sharply, panic flashing in her eyes. So, the truth was already bleeding out in plain sight. From a gash on her forearm, slipping between her fingers, wasn't red blood. It was some kind of blue fluid. A dozen guesses flashed through my mind, but in the end, I said nothing. I just helped her to her feet, quietly stepping between her and Klein.
あなたたち、
He was halfway to checking on us when the rising wail of sirens cut through the air outside.
保安局の人が向かってきたわよ。私は大丈夫だけど、手伝ってあげようか。
Klein shot a concerned glance toward Luna, who was still clutching her arm. I offered Klein a calm smile. She opened her gaze, shaking her head gently.
ただのかすり傷ですよ。
That's good to hear. I stepped back to the terminal, removed the memory unit containing the Ember system, and slipped ship number 6 securely into my coat pocket. Let's get out of here. If the bruise spots us, things get complicated. Sirens screamed through the night. Security bureau vehicles and helicopters were converging fast. But by the time they reached the estate, we were already gone. The memory unit and chip in hand, vanishing past their cordon under the cover of darkness. Now, will you tell me? Who are you, Luna? We kept running. I could see her arm, the wind still bleeding blue. She stayed silent at first, biting her lip, clearly wrestling with herself. Then, finally, she looked up, met my eyes, and gave a firm nod.
部長にだけは嘘をつきたくありません。見ての通り、私はヒューマノイドなんです。
But she's been an AI the whole time. That's why she can process data so fast.
痛いのが嫌って言ったのも、傷を負うとヒューマノイドだってバレるからです。今の法律だと、自分の意志を持つヒューマノイド、合成人と人工知能を製造するのは罪を問われますし、バレた時点で該当製造品は廃棄されます。
Pause to take a deep breath.
まあ、私を作り出した方は6年前、私が意志を持つようになった日に亡くなったんですけどね。アクロポリス学院の有名な教授だったんですよ。今になってもヒューマノイドなんかを作った理由はわかりません。人としての立場やアクロポリス学院の学籍を用意してくれたので、彼女の娘としてアクロポリス学院で5年間過ごして、卒業するとこの会社に入って部長と出会いました。私のような特殊な存在は学院に居続ける方が安全だって分かっています。ですが、どうしても外の世界が知りたかったんです。人の感情が、自分が世界に存在する理由が知りたいんです。
So, did you find your answer?
いいえ。
There's a quiet ache in her voice she couldn't quite hide.
多分、結局私は人間と異なる存在なんでしょうね。会社に入って、あなたの助手になれて、嬉しかったんです。部長に会うと、部長と一緒に任務を終わらせると、一緒に飲みに行くと、休みの日に部長の部屋に押しかけてお掃除すると、嬉しくなるんです。ですが、今日のことで思い知らされました。私の正体はいずれバレます。私はただのヒューマノイドなんです。あなたのそばに居座ったら、いつかあなたを巻き込んでしまいます。だから
So what? I cut her off. Synthetic or not, I like you either way. I froze in place, eyes wide with shock. Unless I was imagining things, I swear I saw steam rising from her head. Soyo. I said, synthetic or not, I like you either way. I repeated it slowly, reaching out to take her hand again. You're smart, capable, and cute? What's not to like? Looks like we're partners in crime now. Her fingers curled tight around mine, like she was afraid I'd disappear if she let go. We'll deal with the rest when it comes. For now, let's go home. Man, I wish I saw more. Well, also the background moves as you like scroll through the event. Wow, that's quite a lot. Clicking this twice? What? Oh, it's 8 and not 6. Okay. The internet dying? What's going on? Yep, I think it's dying. Okay. Yep, the bitrate's gone. Oh god. And the bitrate's back. Okay. Really loves the story. I'm thinking about what the words I can use. I really love the story. I think the mini games. I like the mini games in the last event more than the current one. And don't get me wrong. The Garage Party, it's okay. It just gets boring after you play it a bit. Same with Garden Mayhem. It's just Plants vs Zombies. Like slightly different though. It's interesting that, okay, how do I say this? Normally when you think about like a person finding out that the person that they've been around is actually a robot, you'd think that their first thought would be to like think if their feelings for them were actually true or not, you know, because, you know, it's human and a robot after all. But earlier, the agent just straight up confesses, and that's interesting. I guess maybe things in the future would be different. I guess that's what the writers imagine as well. It's kind of like Beatless. Beatless is an anime where they are synthetic humans, like robots. There's like 5 of them that are like the newest model, and they have like facial human features and like really great combat prowess. The main character just falls in love with the one of the bots she met, and I think the other bots fall in love with the main character as well, but they don't like last that long, I think. There's also Atri, My Dear Moments, where the main character falls in love with an AI. That's like the plot. It's kind of spoilers, so I won't go too deep into Atri, My Dear Moments. I also don't like the ending that much, so. But it's interesting. I wonder what chapter 16 is going to be like, or 15.5, you know? I do think it's chapter 15 part 2, sorry. So it's going to be like chapter 16, maybe. Unless it's like a 15 part 3. I think they only go up to part 2, they don't go into part 3. It's interesting how we cleared Abyssal Dawn, We could have bestowed on, but it says it's locked. What's in harmony to focus? Okay. So we have to clear this to get access to this, but we've cleared this, yet we have access to Fractal of Truth. I don't really get why. At any rate, next time on Snowbreak Containment Zone, we'll either be doing the main story so that we can get access to more of these game modes, or we'll be doing these game modes, and I don't know if I'll do these off screen or not. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'll probably just update you guys with like any strategies that arise in later stages. In here, I'll probably just clear this. What are the pearls used for? Where is it? Collect party. Push party event reward token. Because it's not used in here. Maybe it's. Push party. Okay, so you just need to collect 100. No, 300 of those to get more rewards. Yeah, I'll probably do it off screen, especially these later ones. Master. Looks like being safe for it. It's also doesn't have like a requirement to access it, so that's interesting. Wait, is there a new gun? Hold on. Yeah, there's a new gun in here for some reason. It wasn't in here before. Yeah, this wasn't in here before either. I don't know why they added it in. I don't know if they'll add another story. Because same with episode Dawn, they added Cherno's story into it. But yeah, next time, yeah, I think I already said what we'll be doing next time. But tomorrow, as mentioned, we'll be doing Genshin with the event. Mini Covenant tests. I guess I'll use it because you know, here when I use Nita Pulse, it's because I think she's OP and also, you know, she's my main. But I think we can show some, you know, our progress on this story, and here we support, and I support Tess more. But yeah, you know, he was supporting Tess more. There's Katya here. Anyway, I'll end things off here. And until next time, be good, be well. Don't spend money on gacha games. Well, maybe you can spend some, but not too much. Don't break your bank. Yeah, see you guys there. Bye-bye. Why is my motion capture just messing up? Like, is it my glasses? Like, huh? I think it's my glasses. Okay. I'll need to clean them.